All right, what's going on, people? We're gonna get right to it. We're gonna do these quick things right here. We're gonna do these quick streams, and then I got a video that I want to touch on, right? Because we're gonna be dealing with status, and we want to cut it from a different from a lot of different angles. So let's get right to it. I'm gonna go here. I'm not gonna interrupt anything because I want to get to the meat of what we're gonna be talking about. So let me go ahead and bam, get that going. I'm on mute.
And they'll misuse us because we can't get back home. But we are the black people. So how is somebody gonna tell us how we supposed to sport our clothes? This is what this is what we're talking about. They don't want us to get a power where it's nothing but a greed. That's all. They said the Afro was legal. Am I right or wrong? That's right. That's what they said, it was legal. We can sport an Afro. All right. If the brothers go out and line up their fro real nice, it's looking good, it's neat, and it's presentable. This is all that's necessary. But it's not by Marine Corps regulations, which when the regulations were written, we weren't in mind anyway. But they want us to wear skinhead, what they call it, high and tight. High and tight. It's not my culture. Am I right or wrong? They come over here, a Vietnamese girl, she called me a nigga. A Vietnamese girl, I know it's not part of their language. Can't nobody tell me that's part of their language. See, we go over here, we fight. Okay, we fight to defend the water we drink, the land we grow our food on, and our way of culture. We also fight to protect Rockefeller's foundations. We fight to protect J.P. Kennedy's foundation, all these different kind of foundations that the black man can't partake of, you understand? And then we go back, we're continuing to harass. It's not necessary. This ain't what we heard, this is what we know.
Now, just like you said, these Oriental people don't know where the word nigga came from or nothing. They have to learn how to speak it. The first time I come over here, I goes out in the Ville, I falls into one of these places, and I'm thrown out because I'm black, because I'm black. They don't like us. They say, we start trouble. Now, who done put this stuff in their mind? You know what I mean? The bees came over here and brainwashed these people.
And we've been stripped of our cultures and heritage.
And they don't want us to pick it back up. See, they tell us for all these years. Look here, our brother don't worry. Because if one brother ain't got, then ain't none of the brothers got. Right. If one of them is got, then all of us got. This way it's been and this way it's gonna be. See? So if one of us ain't got freedom, ain't none of us got freedom.
You did a good job. You did an excellent job. And I'm glad to see you all down here because it's not focusing on team takeovers and negative things like that. You all are representing something very positive here. And so I want to commend you all for that. You stay in school. No matter what, stay in school. I know the school system sucks in a lot of ways, but it's the best that we have. So you use it as best as you can. You did a good job. Now, with that being said, this committee right here, that's housing and real estate, I want y'all to understand, they're not advocating for nothing for you all, not for black kids. They got y'all in here talking about housing and all this and that. Do you all understand that this same committee, and particularly that middle row, where it's Haddon, Clay, Fuentes, and Rosanna Sanchez was right there. She got up and left because she don't want to hear us talk. She don't want us to tell you all that they've taken all the money and given it to illegal immigrants. You all better understand that. They took all the money and gave it to illegal immigrants. They're not building no housing for y'all. Not at all. Everything that they talking about doing, they doing it for illegal immigrants. Let me tell you something. We're in these meetings all the time. We're here 3-4 times a week in every single meeting. And we've been doing it for 3 years, ever since they've been putting these illegal immigrants into black neighborhoods.
That's right.
We've been fighting for them to get them out of our neighborhoods. We need our resources. Our parents came from the South and set up shop in Chicago and made Chicago what it is today. That's right. Not nobody from across no border, and they're taking everything that we got and giving it to illegal immigrants. Mm-hmm. They're stealing our real estate. They're stealing and telling y'all about how you can get affordable housing with vouchers and stuff. No, y'all want to own property. You don't want no voucher. You don't want to be on welfare. You want to own. You want to own businesses. You want to own property. Right. You want to have families. Hallelujah. That's what you want. You want that for you. Ain't nobody gonna fight for us but us. And if y'all think I'm lying about anything, Monique Scott, she'll tell you, I've been down here for 3 years because they've been trying to steal real estate on the south side and west side of Chicago, including my own mother's probate estate. You ask her if I'm lying. We got all the voting and how they vote. They done gave our money to illegal immigrants. Y'all stay in school.
Example actually is African Americans. I don't know if you can think of a people who were more held back, more deprived, more sabotaged than African Americans. You took everything away from them and took them away from everything. They started in your country at less than zero, literally regarded and treated as subhuman, not allowed to learn to read or write or anything for hundreds of years. But you see, they come from a people of accomplishment to one degree or another, not a people of piracy and theft and appropriation. They come from a people who created and built and developed in their own countries, in their own land. And even though you did everything that you could possibly do to suppress them, to hold them down, to hold them back, and you're still doing that until today, nevertheless, I don't think anyone can dispute the fact that African Americans have become a global cultural superpower. Culturally, they're a superpower. Whatever cultural soft power that America has in the global South, it's African American.
That's your question. Okay, you talking to me, not a dumb Negro or pork chop eater, don't know the truth. I'm free now. I woke up. Now, what are you going to tell me now? I done gave you my solution, some land of my own, doing something for myself like you, England, and America do. Now, I know you're not against the black man. I know you're not against me having my land, are you? I know you English the ruled and slave forever for a long time. But do you still today don't want me to have my own country and build for myself and govern myself? Would you think that's bad if we thought like that? What's your solution to my problem? 1974, you all just, some white men just flew from New York to England in an hour, less than 2 hours. You all are so progressive. You're walking around on other planets. Now, today, I'm intelligent too now. What's your suggestion? What should be my movement? Integrate?
Yeah, equal rights in a mixed society.
In this society, where you still own the government, you still own the train station, the railroad plant, the electric plant, these television cameras, you still make all the food, you control everything, and I'm like a leech on a dog's back. All I can do is just wait for you. I can't do nothing for myself. Integrating in your society don't mean I'm doing nothing for myself. You doing it all. I want to do something for myself. I'm tired of depending on you. You might get broke one day. Your stores might close. Your gas pumps might cut off again. I'm relying on you now. Can I have my own land and country? What's your suggestion?
Having worked in government, you have to realize there's two pots of money. There's the people money, there's the power money. The people money is your Medicaid, your food stamps and all that. The power money is your Department of Transportation, your infrastructure dollars that they protect like it's the gold mine. You always see things under the people money under attack, being defunded, being reduced. What you don't see is Department of Transportation. That is the largest funder of federal dollars to your state. And what I presented last year to Ohio was out of the $1.7 trillion allocated to infrastructure, Ohio got over $7 billion over a 5-year period. If your governor takes 35% of that yearly allocation and focuses on the 21,000 returning from prison in Ohio, you now have $85,000 to $90,000 to follow each person to re-enter society versus that second chance grant y'all go after that ain't nothing but $250 when it's divided. So what I say when I talk about being a rebel, what I say is your politicians who you elect to office have to be on the focus of the people and utilizing the funding that's allocated to this state to ensure that the people in this state have the resources they need. It ain't rocket science, y'all. It ain't rocket science. The money is on the table. The money is here. And there is a law that allows for infrastructure dollars focused on roads, bridges. How many orange cones y'all see? Flaggers y'all see? Those jobs, there is a workforce development component of that that says you can train a person, prepare them for actually employment. You can provide for housing and a stipend. If 50 organizations, small nonprofit, focus on just the population released in their state and they serve 50 people, that organization just got over $1 million. You'll never get that in philanthropy or a grant. Why y'all chasing crumbs when y'all got bricks in your own backyard?
Got it? Good.
Man, get in here. Hey, Jewish peoples, why do you feel the need to tell our story? What do you have to hide? Why do you, in every history books in North America, that need to say we slaves? Or we need to say we came from somewhere else? Why do you, the only race that with Washington, D.C. that say we need to come from somewhere else? And not only that, ain't you the same peoples that the Jewish society say the so-called Black Americans, you wrote the history books. All the history books you wrote. Washington, D.C. did not write one history book. Why do you write literally, if you look at all the names, G, including Washington, D.C., the movies, everybody said we came from Africa. We are slaves, Hollywood, everybody, that you need to, why? Answer that question. Why you need to tell everybody that we came from Africa? What's up with that? Why do you, the only race, no other race, I swear to God, we figured it out. There's no other race except you that you need to write the story that we came from Africa. Why? Man, get in here. The biggest lies that's told in history to our peoples. And I'm about to explain it to you. I'm about to show you some court cases about Africans and classification and why you look stupid when you call yourself an African American. And yes, we being used. And I'm gonna show you how we're being used, but I'm about to make it quick and I'm about to skip over words, but I want you to take a screenshot so you won't never get confused again why all these immigrants is using your rights and they are the real African. Literally in America. All secrets revealed. Now, I'm going to move out the way and I'm going to stay low so you can take screenshots. But if you look at the top, Black Americans held citizenship within the sovereign Native American tribes long before they gained U.S. citizenship. Now, why is that important? Because we are the Indians. Why did we need to become U.S. citizens? What would be the point, or what would be the advantage of so-called being a U.S. citizen? Now, does that make any sense? Nah. Now, with the first court case, As you can see, the United States never held any municipal sovereignty, jurisdiction, or right to soil in any territory beyond the temporary powers of a trustee. The case, 1845. Go and take a screenshot. Now this is called court case edition. I need new conspiracy theories because all my old ones came true. Court case edition. Now, if you read the case in 1922, now what a lot of people don't know, that these Naturalizations Act, right? And it's called 1906. And if you read for yourself, it applies to aliens and African native and to person of African descent. Why are you so late to the party, bruh? Why are you so late to the party, bruh? So I thought the Dred Scott case, he was African descent. How did he beat you? Becoming a citizen of the so-called United States. Does that make any sense? Nah. Now check this out. Now you wonder how all these immigrants and Somalis and all of them, they classify as African Americans getting your rights? You're not getting nothing? Well, take a screenshot of this, and it should explain it. The definition of white includes peoples of Middle Eastern and North African descent. Some individuals of African origin being classified as white, but they actually reaping the benefits of being called an African American. Now let me ask you a question. You called an African American, right? But all of a sudden you stuck in an individual imaginary box and everybody getting paid except us. Why is that so important? Because we've been tribes way before anybody been here. But they put us under them like slaves. Or better yet, they became trustees in these court cases.
All right, let me address this real quick. Let me read this case. Where you at? Where you at? Where you at? There you go. Let me blow this up a little bit. All right, so what you're looking at, the United States never held any municipal sovereignty, jurisdiction, or right of soil in and to the territory beyond the temporary powers of a trustee. So let me translate that. So municipal, we're gonna look that up because I have my Black's Law ready to go. That definition. So they have no municipal sovereignty or jurisdiction or right of soil. In Latin, it's called jus soli, right? Right of soil. In and to the territory. So what's the territory? Okay, now it says beyond the temporary powers of a trustee. So what that means, that's the most important place. So any jurisdiction or any type of power that they had did not expand beyond their temporary powers of a trustee. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to look at that too. Because remember, we're talking about status here. So status just doesn't pertain to me and you. It actually pertains to the United States and what their status is. Okay? So let's move on to the next one.
Man, get in here, get in here, get in here. When I just posted this, just literally 30 minutes ago, and I got every...
He said, just literally. That boy be on that.
Everybody white, everybody African, everybody immigrants, everybody Native Americans don't know how to read. So this is law. This has always been law. But let's go down to this sentence that you miss. Does not mean the Caucasian race, the Aryan race, Indo-European race, does not mean you're not even part of the.
All right, he's missing something. Okay. So under the circumstances right there, this is the only time I'm going to not agree with him. All right. I'm going to pull up that too as well. Because remember, I pulled up free white person. I did a whole thing when we pulled up that Caribbean lady that is a representative of, I think it's Florida. And she sat there and she said certain things about the relationship between the Caribbean and the United States and how much money they've been doing business in. Great relationships, right? Now, but what you need to know on the free white persons thing, that was an amendment to the initial 1790 Naturalization Act that talked about white persons. Now, when I showed you about white persons, it took it straight to Caucasians. So by definition, the free white persons were a group that then came after the initial Naturalization Act, and white persons are what they define as, which were Caucasians. So just want to correct it on that. All right. So I just wanted to get that going. We are going to move past that.
Man, get in here.
He's had some good ones, though. Let me mute up.
I want to tell you something. And I want you to let this think in your skull for 1 minute. Why are we the only person on Earth, the Earth itself, that so-called came from another country that's wrote in the Constitution of the forefathers? Have you ever asked yourself that question, that we're supposed to be African American? Who in a fucking right mind would call somebody an African American like 300 years later, right? That we so-called came from Africa. We so-called came from Africa, right? All right, okay, we came from Africa, whatever you want to call us, right? Why would you write us in the Constitution? Do you know how dangerous that is to write a... Bitch, we got the keys to the city. We're the only one got the keys to the city. We are the only one who can talk shit. We are the only one who say, bitch, bow down. We are the only one who say, bitch. What you talking about? What you talking about, immigrants? You an immigrant, we not.
All right. Y'all get the point. But, he'd be a little turned up. But, hey, express it how you express it. I mean, all these things going on. You can't be mad how people express themselves when at this point in time they've been duped. So, we got that, right? Remember, status here. Dealing with status. Got some more. We got some more. Now, we're going to move along into a different section of what we're dealing with. Status, right? Status has everything. We're talking about jurisdiction, everything. Shout out to None of Your Business. Appreciate this, what she shared. But this is certain information that I think is very important, because status is everything, right? Remember, Miranda rights, Fifth Amendment, anything you say can and will be held against you. As a debt collector, they say, as I showed, any information we receive will be used for that purpose. This is an attempt to collect a debt. Remember, Title 42 USC 1994, P&I is abolished. All right. Make a note.
Doctrine. And when you connect it with bond and securities knowledge, you're no. Let me put you on game about something 99% of people, even attorneys, overlook. It's called the fruit of the poisonous tree doctrine. And when you connect it with bond and securities knowledge, you're no longer playing defense. You're moving in remedy. The fruit of the poisonous tree is a legal doctrine that says, if the source of the evidence, the tree, is tainted, then everything that comes from it, the fruit, is also tainted and inadmissible. That means if your case started with a constitutional violation, like no proper service, unlawful arrest, no probable cause, or denial of counsel, then everything that follows, including the charges, evidence, and even the judgment, is invalid. But here's where it gets deeper. Every single court case has a financial trail. Most people don't know this, but your case is being bonded, securitized, and monetized, usually with your name in all caps as the collateral. Performance bonds, surety bonds, bail bonds, appearance bonds, even insurance wraps and standby letters of credit are all used in private banking channels to generate money off your case. Yes, this is private banking, and it's why your case has a CUSIP number. It's traded like a financial instrument on the back end. You are the real value, and they're using your signature and energy to move paper.
Now, you could tell that's some AI stuff right there. But yeah, just dealing with that. Fruit of the poisonous tree is real. All the other stuff, hey, who knows? Nobody knows. All right. But at the end of the day, we're going to seek to try to substantiate some of that stuff, right? Let's move forward. Yep, I'm off mute. I got to check. All right, let's continue.
It's easier to describe how to impeach them, every cop in America. You put them on your witness list. Don't just leave them on the state's witness list, the county's witness list. You must put them on yours and take them to trial. Go down to the county recorder and get a certified copy of their oath of office. It'll be notarized and it'll have their name. Regardless if it's their correct name or not, it doesn't matter. This always works. From Westlaw. Have them printed up at the local law library. Every college has a law library. Every college has free Westlaw. It's like 15 to 25 cents a page to print. Go get copies of the following two laws. For those in the back, Title 5, Section 3331, Oath of Office, and Title 18, Section 912. Then put the cop on the stand. Have him testify that that oath of office that's certified is his. He'll say, yes, sir, it is. You put it into evidence. Do not count on it just being on the record. If it's not in evidence, it's not evident to the judge. You must say, Judge, I put this into evidence as his valid oath of office. Then you go, cool, you got an oath of office. Can you read this law for the court? And hand him Title 5. Yours doesn't say that, does it? Nope. Judge, I want to put that
All right.
into evidence. And I hereby demand.
Now I'm going to stop it right there. You know, fair use. But who knows? You got the codes. Hopefully you guys are taking notes. Let's go over to the next one.
They are the public trustee in reality. They construe it to make us, the fiduciary and trustee, to perform by our consent and ignorance of the operation of law. Does that make sense? And we consent to be in that position. And our applications authorizes them to monetize whatever instrument is created from that application, whether it's an application for a cell phone, an application to buy a house, an application to buy a car, an application for your electric bill, an application for your landline. All those applications is essentially a power of attorney. And they use.
Check. Got it? You got it? You heard what he just said, right? Applications. I'm going to play this again. We'll run it back.
Here's the thing. They are the public trustee.
I wanted to get you guys' attention because I know that was going to run by pretty fast. Now I got your attention. Listen closely.
In reality, they construe it to make us the fiduciary and trustee to perform by our consent and ignorance of the operation of law. Does that make sense? And we consent to be in that position. And our applications authorizes them to monetize whatever instrument is created from that application, whether it's an application for a cell phone, an application to buy a house, an application to buy a car, an application for your electric bill, an application for your landline. All those applications is essentially a power of attorney. And they use that power of attorney. You as the creditor authorize them to create securities that are of your minor account. And they operate that account in your absence. Because mom, when she did the birth registration, never aligned a will or a letter of intent to that registration. And your fathers never taught you how to go and claim that minor account before you turned 18.
All right. We're going to go into this stuff now. This was just kind of funny to me. It was just funny. I like this. This is that what you call that white boy kryptonite. This is what they be doing in court. Watch this.
And can you also state your name and city for the record, please?
No, ma'am, I will not. So that's a First Amendment right violation. If you force me to give him my name, I can do it anonymous. There's nothing you can do about it. If you don't like it, you can kiss my ass. Okay.
Sir?
Mayor would like to object to the profanity.
Yeah, sir.
You can object all you want. It's a First Amendment protected right. I'm not threatening anybody.
Oh, boy. All right, we're going to take a break real quick. I want to look into the chat, see who's there. All right. So you see where we're at right here. We got a lot of good information. Those right there, those last four, came from None of Your Business. And anybody else that got information, you got my email, send it off to me. What's up, old dude? Heartfelt Center /JDub. What's happening? Big Dog Philly OG. What's going on, brother? Rod Will. Who else up in here? Who else is up in here? Yeah, a lot of people don't be chatting. Derek, what's going on, brother? American Business. What's happening? David, what's going on? All right, I think that's it. All right, so now we got this. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a couple things. I really want you guys to kind of get this. I do this in the sense of this is the, I call the white boy kryptonite, because when our people talk about it, the first thing they say is, oh, yeah, well, that's going to, and this is going to happen and that's going to happen, right? But, yeah, when these folks get to talking, yeah, everybody be on their P's and Q's, right? So what I want to do is I want to kind of get into these details, right? Kind of got these things bookmarked. I want to get into these details, and then I'm going to open up the panel. I've been working on it. I want to make sure that my presentations don't go no longer than 90 minutes. I want you to be able to get it right, get it good, with no extras on top of it. And then I want people to come in and, make statements, ask questions. I prefer ask questions, so see if we get on the same page. But here we go. Gonna come back here. This is something that was sent to me. I think this is something that was like kind of created like a role play type thing, but I think this is very interesting. Yep, we on mute. Here we go. Here we go. Bam, bam. All right. Here we go. Am I on? Okay, we on. We on. So you guys see the screen? Yep. You guys see the screen. I got my other screen up. I'm looking to make sure that I'm good, so I don't make that mistake again. All right, here we go.
Well, this is a promissory note.
Is there an agreement between Mr. Smith, the borrower, and the defendant?
Yes.
Do you believe the agreement includes a lender and a borrower?
Yes, I'm the lender and Mr. Smith is the borrower.
What do you believe the agreement is?
We have the borrower sign the note and we give the borrower a check.
Does this agreement show the words borrower, lender, loan, interest, credit, or money within the agreement?
Sure it does.
According to your knowledge, who was to loan what to whom according to the written agreement?
The lender loaned the borrower a $200,000 check. The borrower got the money and the house and has not repaid the money.
Do you believe an ordinary person can use ordinary terms and understand this written agreement?
Yes.
Okay. Do you believe you or your company legally own the promissory note and have the right to enforce payment from the borrower?
Absolutely, we own it and legally have the right to collect the money.
Does the $200,000 note have actual cash value of $200,000? Actual cash value means the promissory note can be sold for $200,000 cash in the ordinary course of business.
Yes.
So according to your understanding of the alleged agreement, how much actual cash value must the bank loan to the borrower in order for the bank to legally fulfill the agreement and legally own the promissory note?
$200,000.
Okay, so according to your belief, if the borrower signs the promissory note and the bank refuses to loan the borrower $200,000 actual cash value, would the bank or the borrower own the promissory note?
Well, the borrower would own it if the bank did not loan the money. The bank gave the borrower a check, and that is how the borrower financed the purchase of the house.
Okay. Do you believe that the borrower agreed to provide the bank with $200,000 of actual cash value, which was then used to fund the $200,000 bank loan check back to the same borrower, and then agreed to pay the bank back $200,000 plus interest?
No, if the borrower provided the $200,000 to fund the check, there was no money loaned by the bank, so the bank cannot charge interest on money it never loaned.
Okay. So if this happened, in your opinion, would the bank legally own the promissory note and be able to force Mr. Smith to pay the bank interest and principal payments?
Well, I'm not a lawyer, so I cannot answer legal questions.
Well, then, is it bank policy that when a borrower receives a $200,000 bank loan, the bank receives $200,000 actual cash value from the borrower, that this gives value to a $200,000 bank loan check, and this check is returned to the borrower as a bank loan which the borrower must repay?
Well, I do not know the bookkeeping entries.
I'm asking you if this is the policy.
Well, I do not recall.
Okay. Mr. Banker, do you believe the agreement between Mr. Smith and the bank is that Mr. Smith provides the bank with an actual cash value of $200,000, which is used to fund a $200,000 bank loan check back to himself, which he is then required to repay plus interest back to the same bank?
I am not a lawyer.
Did you not say earlier that an ordinary person can use ordinary terms and understand this written agreement?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Banker, I'm going to hand you back the bank loan agreement. This is Exhibit B. Is there anything in this agreement showing the borrower had knowledge or showing where the borrower gave the bank authorization or permission for the bank to receive $200,000 actual cash value from him in the note and to use this to fund the $200,000 bank loan check, which obligates him to give the bank back $200,000 plus interest?
No, there is not.
Okay, so if the borrower provided the bank with actual cash value of $200,000 in the note, which the bank used to fund the $200,000 check and returned the check back to the alleged borrower as a bank loan check, in your opinion, did the bank loan $200,000 to the borrower?
In that case, no.
So if a bank customer...
All right. We'll stop it right there. Now, what I'm going to show, hopefully you guys caught that, and I know this, it's new to everybody, so I don't want to overload you with it, but y'all grown. Handle it. Y'all should be able to run with it. All right. So if, based on everything that I just showed, right, everything is about a status. Everything is dealing with status. Who's the creditor? Who's the debtor? Who's the lender? Who's the borrower? Who's the homeowner? Who's the landlord? Who's the tenant? Who's this? And who's that? It's all dealing with that, and it's jurisdictions to it. All right. So what I want to do first and foremost is we went over a lot of different definitions, based on law, right? So under the circumstances, I don't want to go back there. What I want to do is I want to be able to move forward. All right. So it don't become redundant in that sense. I want to move forward. So we have everything dealing with negotiable instruments, promissory notes, and you're hearing these new videos and certain people making these statements. So, that's what we want to do. Now, I'll say this: vertical grow, Dre 1. If you're going to sit here and troll, I'm going to block you. All right? So just understand that. If you say anything else outside of anything intelligent, you're blocked. All right. You said, so what? All right. No problem. I can take care of that. Yeah. So sit there for a minute. All right, so here's what we got going on right here. Yeah, so all right, so under the circumstances, what we deal with here is let's deal with the fiduciary capacity for public trustee, fiduciary capacity, application, endorsement, will. All right, so let me go ahead and open up this whole thing. Let me open up the whole full screen. And then let me get to the entire screen, pull it up. Let's go here, add the stage. There we go. All right, let's come over here to this fiduciary, right? Here's the definition of what a fiduciary is, right? So fiduciary. Okay, so this term is derived from the Roman law, means as a noun, a person holding the character of a trustee or a character. So we got power of attorney, right? So just keep that in mind. So, or a character analogous to that of a trustee in respect to the trust and confidence involved in it and the scrupulous good faith and candor which it requires. So under a fiduciary responsibility, right? Fiduciary responsibility, this is what it entails. So when you listen to him in his proper, well, not in his proper, but in his presentation, what he's saying, this is what these people automatically supposedly supposed to hold. This is what a fiduciary trustee holds. Right now, when we're dealing with fiduciary capacity, one is said to act in a fiduciary capacity or to receive money or contract a debt in a fiduciary capacity when the business which he transacts or the money or property which he handles is not his own or for his own benefit. Now, remember, we've been talking about mortgage foreclosure because that's the easiest thing to kind of do. So when you look at a deed of trust, right, just saying in California, when you look at a deed of trust, and in other states might be a mortgage or a security deed, in a deed of trust, the beneficiary is the bank. But at the same time, when you look at the rules in California dealing with approved home loan mortgage servicers, they give you a list of banks. But what it specifically says doesn't say home mortgage loan servicers. Home mortgage loan lenders. It says home mortgage loan servicers. So that means these banks that are approved in the state of California are approved to service mortgage loans, not lend. See, key words. All right. So if that's the case, then these people operating in a position, how are they able to operate in multiple positions? And how was they able to put themselves in a beneficiary position? And this is what this guy was saying earlier. He said that because we really didn't understand, but he took it all the way back to our birth, where these birth certificates or these applications were filled out a certain specific way. Right? But let me continue. Let's finish out this sentence right here, because I want you to get a full understanding of what fiduciary is. So it's not his own or for his own benefit, but for the benefit of another person as to whom he stands in a relation, implying and necessitating great confidence and trust on the one part and a high degree of good faith on the other part. The term is not restricted to technical or express trust, but includes all such offices or relations as those of an attorney at law, a guardian, executor, or broker, a director of a corporation, and a public officer. So I don't know if you knew, but directors of corporations have fiduciary responsibilities. Why? Because they get millions of dollars and they got credentials. So let's just stay right there. So you know that right there, because you remember he said the power of attorney, right? They got power of attorney through these applications. Now let's go down here and look at a fiduciary contract. The fiduciary contract, an agreement by which a person delivers a thing to another on the condition that he will restore it to him. Now, what I'm going to do is think about donor. Think about donor in your mind. Think about donor in your mind. Think about special deposit. Think about that. Donor, special deposit. Remember, also, special endorsement. Because you remember this guy had said that, we signed, we haven't given the specific instructions and all that other stuff that what he was saying. Right? So keep all that in mind when you talk about a fiduciary contract. Keep this in mind. Okay? Because I'm not going to go jump around all over the place. I'm going to say that to tomorrow, and then we'll deal with that when you keep this in mind. A fiduciary debt, a debt founded on or arising from some confidence or trust as distinguished from a debt founded simply on contract. So here we go. So if this is a debt, what type of debt is it? You see? Now, let's move forward. Fiduciary debtors. Only public officers and trustees, not agents, factors, commission men, and the like within the meaning of Bankruptcy Act. Fiduciary debtors. Only public officers and trustees. So all your fiduciary debtors in bankruptcy, right? You remember bankruptcy, HJR 192 and all the different things, chapter 11s that we saw in the bankruptcy, right? When Article 1, Section 10, Clause 1, Article 1, Section 8, all these things where the gold standard was suppressed, the Federal Reserve and fractional reserves came in, made the United States liable for all debts, public and private. What is that saying? It made them fiduciary debtors. So anytime in these instruments that they utilize in these identifying numbers that they attach to the real person, they actually attached it to them so that way when they needed something in the public, which is already prepaid, they go to the fiduciary debtor who's to guarantee the amount for the thing that you need to get to live, right? Something that you use for what? Personal and family use, not for gain, right? So there you go. Now, under fiduciary heir, we're going to go past that. So now we're going to go to fiduciary relation. An expression including both technical fiduciary relations and those informal relations which exist whenever one man trusts and relies upon another. It exists where there is a special confidence reposed in one who in equity and good conscience is bound to act in good faith and with due regard to interests of one reposing the confidence. Now, when you understand that, right, in consumer law, they call it what? Unfair and Deceptive Practices Act, right? Unfair and deceptive practices, actual fraud, constructive fraud, failure to disclose. This is what you have in the Frank Dodd, and you have the Truth in Lending, RESPA, Real Estate Settlement Procedures, Fair Debt Collection Practices, Fair Credit Reporting. You have all these things that are tied in to a fiduciary relationship. All right. So let's look at the All right, so what we got here? Yeah, I did. I muted myself. Yep. All right. So let's go back over here. I just want to look in the chat, check everything because I got the whole screen playing. So when I'm doing that, I can't look at the chat. I'm seeing it from the other screen, but I want to sit there and say, okay, everybody on point. I see everybody is on point. Everybody is on point. All right. So let's get back to it. All right. So what we're going to do real quick. Hold on real quick. I want to pull up this thing right here. It is, let me remove it. I'm going to pull up fiduciary responsibility. I want to pull that up. And I'm going to show you, this is in not corporate juris secundum, but this is American jurisprudence, fiduciary responsibility. I'll pull that up real quick. That's all I want right there. There he is. Let's pull that up real quick. Like, I want you to see this so you guys can understand what's going on. And then also what I want to do is let's move over here as we dealt with, I want to bring back this right here. So everybody know what a trustee is. It says what we have right there. He had, what was that? All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to 239. We're going to look up the root word of an attorney. Right in here. When we come down here, this is to attorn. Right? To attorn. To turn over. To transfer to another, money or goods. To assign to some particular use or service. To consent to the transfer of a rent or reversion. To agree to become tenant to one as owner or landlord of an estate previously held of another, or to agree to recognize a new owner of a property or estate and promise payment of rent to him. Now, this is the whole play when you're dealing with attorneys, right? So here's feudal law. Here's another one. To attorney, to transfer, turn over, to appoint an attorney or substitute, right? So power of appointment, right? So you have power of attorney, power of appointment, power of attorney. So we have all these other ones right here, but let's come down here, right here, attorney. So that's a Latin in Old English, Latin, French, and Old English law. An attorney in the most general sense. This term denotes an agent or substitute. Right. So actually, if you see in regards to how they apply non-judicial foreclosures, in non-judicial foreclosures, they actually have this substitutive trustee, which actually are attorney firms who create these companies that act as trustees in foreclosure. Right. So in this situation, in the most general sense, this term denotes an agent or substitute or one who is appointed and authorized to act in the place or stead of another. So this is what they're doing in non-judicial foreclosures. They actually create these documents where they're substituting what is different from what you see in a deed of trust. The trustee in a deed of trust is always what I showed in there, like I showed you fidelity. The one that is opening up escrow, the one that's doing the preliminary title report, and that's giving that title insurance policy that gives you the Schedule A, showing that you are the owner with interest in the estate, and you have interest or estate in the land, and you are considered to be the owner of the land. More importantly, steward of the land. All right. So, an agent or one acted on behalf of another. One whose who is put in place stead and turn of another to manage his matters of law. An agent employed by party to case to manage it for him. So all these situations of these definitions, this is what applies to. All right. Now, let's see if we have attorney in fact. Okay. We don't want to go there. That's a whole nother conversation. Letter of attorney, power of attorney. Here we go. Power of attorney commonly meant the instrument by which authority of one person to act in place instead of another as attorney in fact is set forth. So now we go up to attorney in fact. Attorney in fact, a private attorney authorized by another to act in his place instead, either for some particular purpose as to do a particular act or for the transaction of business in general, not of a legal character. Okay? So, now let's go to fiduciary responsibility. All right, we're going to go to fiduciary responsibility. Let's go to 198. Let's go to 195. There we go. Got everything in there. All right, so this is fiduciary responsibility. This is 63C, American jurisprudence. 2D, public officers and employees, 247. It says, as expressed otherwise, the powers delegated to a public officer are held in trust for the people and are to be exercised in behalf of the government or of all citizens, in behalf of the government or of all citizens. So citizens and government are synonymous when it says or, who may need the intervention of the officer. Furthermore, the view has been expressed that all public officers within whatever branch and whatever level of government and whatever be their private vocations are trustees of the people and accordingly labor under every disability and prohibition imposed by law on trustees relative to the making of personal financial gain from a discharge of their trust. Discharge, what does that mean? Okay, that is a public officer occupies a fiduciary relationship to the political entity on whose behalf he or she serves. Okay, so that is the government or of all citizens. The relationship, the government is the political entity on whose behalf he or she serves and owes a fiduciary duty to the public. So in this whole circle where the people come involved, right, to the public, it has been said that fiduciary responsibilities of a public officer cannot be less than those of a private individual. Furthermore, it has been stated that any enterprise undertaken by the public official which tends to weaken the public confidence and undermine the sense of security for individual rights is against public policy. Here's your fiduciary responsibility. American jurisprudence, public officers and employees. You see? Here's case law right here. Now let's get right here. A public official is a fiduciary toward the public. A public official, including in the case of a judge who's a public official, the litigants who appear before him, and if he deliberately conceals material information from them, he is guilty of fraud. All right. So, under the circumstances, this is what we have here in front of us. Now let's get back over here to the other video that I want to go to here. Now we're going to listen to this guy because he's kind of going to put some other things in place. And then I'm going to come back over here to this application. We're going to go back to endorsement because we're going to tie him together with him. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete this other stuff. We're going to keep him up there. We're going to get rid of that. 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 Let's get rid of all this right here. All right, let's get rid of that right there. And let's, where you go? Oh, no, not that one. Where you go? Where you go? Where you go?
Consent to.
All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to go back to 57. All right. All right, screen being shared. Cool, let's go.
Of justice to the tune of $1 trillion a day is taken out of our cesspool of justice. Who is the largest contributor to the federal budget? The Department of Justice to the tune of $1 trillion a day is taken out of our cesspool trusts or our court systems every day. $1 trillion. That's more in 25 days than our entire gross domestic product in a year. In 25 days. They don't have to disclose the CQV. See, I had to prove this in federal court to get to talk about it in systems to the federal budget. Call up the Department of Fiscal. If you call up the Department of Fiscal Services and you send a FOIA request and you ask them, who is the largest contributor to the federal budget? The Department of Justice to the tune of $1 trillion a day is taken out of our cesspool trusts or our court systems every day.
Got that?
$1 trillion. That's more in 25 days than our entire gross domestic product in a year. In 25 days. They don't have to disclose the CQV.
They don't have to disclose the CQV, right? You guys don't know what that, you guys know what that means, the CQV. Now, the national deficit is how much? But you're saying, he's saying, I don't know if it's true or not, but this is what he's saying. He's saying $1 trillion a day. How many days in a year? It's 365, correct? That's $365 trillion. But they saying there's a national deficit of 30-something trillion. That's 365 trillion with a T. And an R, and an I, and an L, and an L, and an I, and an I. Okay. Now, when he's talking, keep the other guy in mind what he's saying. Remember, applications, power of attorney. Keep this in mind. And then they're transferring it, right? So they're flipping it and making you the liable party and making you trustee and surety for all the debts when it was already paid.
See, I had to prove this in federal court to get to talk about it. So, A big portion of this comes out of this before we die. Every time you have a court case, the case is a CUSIP number, the case number. The court clerk is the banker. Mary, at the 9th District of Federal Court, I showed how upon indictment, now when someone gets indicted, are they found guilty? No. No, they're not found guilty. They haven't even been tried. But upon indictment,
Yeah, I would have took a deep breath too. I mean, this is absolutely out of bounds. $1 trillion a day? Whew. Slavery has been abolished, correct? Yeesh.
Upon indictment, Mary filled out the SF-273 form with the Department of Fiscal Services, which is called a bid bond form. She told the Department of Fiscal Services with this form to begin liquidation of this person's account because we're going to need some of it. You got to remember, they're in U.S. Treasury bonds. They're not liquid capital. They have to be sold off. That takes a little bit of time, right? So she filled out that form in this particular case in October. The trial was set for January, didn't happen until April. Upon the day of the trial, the exact day of the trial, Mary filled out the SF-274 form with the Department of Fiscal Services, which is called a performance bond, telling the Department of Fiscal Services that this person has been found guilty and they will have to perform. That's what a performance bond is. It's notifying someone that you're going to have to perform. Okay. This was supposed to take place July 13th. I pushed it to August 30th. Mary filled out the SF-275 form, which is the payment form. It's no different than a wire transfer order. It would have told the Department of Fiscal Services to wire transfer that money to the court. Now, what money am I talking about? In terms of the amount. The penal sum.
All right, we're going to pause it right there. How's everybody doing? See, if I'd have told you that I did it, y'all be like, nigga, you lying. You ain't did that shit. Well, that white man shit. What up, Draco? Hey, tell you about that white boy Kryptonite. Let's get over here to penal. Well, before we do, I want to do that real quick. Nah, let's go to penal. Let's go to penal. Now, you guys remember, right? Back in the day, right? When they had the colonies back in the day, you know, the Aboriginal indigenous people, the Indians, the colonies were penal colonies, right? So those people they was bringing over here, they was working off debt. That's where you get indentures from, right? They have to work it off for a period of years. Now, what's different than you paying off your car in 5 years, 3 to 5 years? That's not an indenture. That's not a penal sum that you got to pay with interest and work and labor to pay that. And if you don't, snatching it. What about a mortgage? 15, 30, 40-year mortgages. It's an indenture contract. You're going to have to pay that off. So you now have just become a prisoner on your own land because I showed you in Schedule A of the preliminary title report that what? That you are the owner with an estate or interest in the land. In fee simple / allodial title. How about that? How did that happen? One of these days, somebody's going to come up here and ask me, how did that happen? But nevertheless, let's get over here to penal. Don't mind me. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm just talking. Boop. 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 There he is. All right. So here we go on P now. All right. Penal, punishable, inflicting a punishment, containing a penalty or relating to a penalty. Penal action, in practice, an action upon a penal statute, an action for the recovery of a penalty given by statute, an action which enforces a forfeiture or foreclosure, or penalty for transgressing the law. The term penal is broader than criminal and relates to actions which are not necessarily criminal as well. Wow. The term penalty in its broad sense is a generic term which includes fines as well as other kinds of punishment, but in its narrowest sense is the amount recovered for violation of the statute of law of the state or municipal ordinance, which violation may or may not be a crime. And the term applies mostly to a pecuniary punishment. The word forfeiture is frequently used in civil as well as criminal law, and it is also used in actions for a penalty. Let's go over here to a penal bill, an instrument formerly in use by which a party bound himself to pay a certain sum or sums of money, penal sum. All right. So penal bond, a promise to pay a named sum of money, the penalty with a condition underwritten that, wait a minute, you telling me you got underwriters on this stuff? It says underwritten. You got a promissory note, promise to pay. What? Well, let's go to the next one. Penal clause, nope. Penal laws, those which prohibit an act and impose a penalty for the commission of it. All right. Penal servitude, penal statutes, penal sum, a sum agreed upon in a bond to be forfeited if the condition of the bond is not fulfilled. Now, 91 days account receivable, just take it as I give it. If you don't pay your debts within 90 days, how long does it take for them to get the shit going? Isn't it 90 days? In court, I think it's 90 days. On the 91st day, if you don't pay that bill, guess what? It becomes accounts receivable. You don't even know, huh? Well, I don't mean to laugh at you guys. I'm not saying you're dumb. I'm just saying some people are because they think they know what they're talking about. Now, let's get back to the show. All righty then.
So an indictment is a bill, true bill.
Well, let's go here. Let me look at, okay, yep, my mic's still working. My mic sound nice. Let's go over here to our indictment. Let's see if he's right. Let's go here. Let's move around. Let's move around. Let's move around to indictment. Let's go to indictment. All right, should be on the next one. Here we go. Indict. I-N-D-I-C. Here we go. Indict. Indication. There we go. Indictment. Indicted. Indict. All right. Indicta. Indicta. Signs, indications, circumstances which point to the existence of a given fact as probable. You know, they always get you on probable cause. They say, well, what is the thing? In the police report, most times it's going to say, I had probable cause to pull him over or her over because he was black and he fit the profile, right? Something like that. So we got signs, indications, circumstances which point to the existence of a given fact as probable but not certain. Now, take it as I give it. You're like, God damn, he just threw a nice little 12-6 curveball at us. Yeah, I did. Just letting you know how I think. Check it out, though. Signs, indications, circumstances, driving while black, hey, it fit the profile. Think about it. So, for example, indicia, right? I mean, when you go indicta, indicia, isn't that kind of like somewhere in the Indian type of field? You see Indians right next door, right over to the left. Look over to the left. You see Indian. Why? Don't worry about that. I digress. But for example, indicia of partnership are any circumstances which would induce the belief that a given person was in reality, though not ostensibly a member of a given firm. The term is much used in civil law in a sense nearly or entirely synonymous with circumstantial evidence. So if they got you on a criminal charge talking about we got probable cause to do something and all the signs and indications and circumstances made me think that there's something that existed at that given fact. What is that? Civil in nature. Just showed you right here. Now let's come on down here. We already got that. That's your root word. That's your Latin term right there. Everything comes after that. Let's go to an indictment. Indictment. An accusation. In writing found and presented by a grand jury. Wait a minute. The grand jury indicted you? The grand jury indicted you. So you're telling me that we look at that in terms of court case, but you telling me if you fill out an application, let's listen to the, go back to the other guy that I showed in the video. You telling me that you fill out applications and they got you in this predicament? They didn't transfer you over, they didn't turn you over, and you're in the form of some type of indictment in order to put you in involuntary servitude and peonage in an indenture contract for 30, 40 years on your own land. Ain't that something? How about that? Think about it. Think about it. Is it far-fetched? Well, let's see. Let's keep reading. An accusation in writing found and presented by a grand jury, legally convoked and sworn to the court in which it is impaneled, charging that a person therein named has done some act or been guilty of some omission. Man, that's cold, ain't it? You already guilty. Now, this is the grand jury, right? If you don't know, people go to the grand jury in order to put an indictment on you. This is what they tell you. But really, they're in the grand jury, and the grand jury is some private entity. They're having a whole conversation you don't know nothing about. So when they come get you, when they come holler at you, they already got it figured out. So you already guilty. They got a whole gamut going on. But what do I know? I don't know too much. I'm just going off what it's saying. Common sense, right? Common sense. Well, they say common sense ain't common. Maybe I have none, but this is what I'm reading. So let's keep reading. charging that a person there named has done some act or been guilty of some omission. Now, if we go with omission, to omit something, it means that you haven't said anything. So that means in your silence or in everything that they did in the, what you call that? Let's say the word properly. Indicta. They came with indicta, saying that under the assumption we had probable cause. She fit the description, everything. Just follow me on this. But what was the omission? Who knows? But it said, or guilty of some omission, which by law is a public offense. Offense. A public offense, which by law is a public offense punishable on indictment. You know, there's another word for omission. It's called conspiracy. Conspiracy. Yeah, I'm cooking right now. Yeah. I'm gonna pat myself on the back on this one. Look, I didn't plan this. Okay. That's good enough. Let's go back. I didn't hear anything on what he said. But appreciate you though, bro. I appreciate you on that one. I'm trying to look at a true bill type thing. Doesn't say in here that it's a true bill. All right. Let's see if we can find a true bill. Let's see. I know I'll be going over time. I know I was supposed to be done. But man, you cannot stop the flow. That's just what it is. There you go. Let's go up a little bit here. True. There we go. Let's come on down here. Bam. True bill. True bill. In criminal practice, the endorsement made by a grand jury, I'll be damn, he was right. He was right. Never looked at it like that. Boy. The endorsement made by a grand jury upon a bill of indictment. Do you understand that there are hundreds, I ain't gonna even say millions just yet, there's hundreds of thousands of people that are locked up for the rest of their life, not even knowing that they have been indicted under a bill? Now, do you know that there are a lot of people that done got their cars taken, that they done got their houses taken, that they have had law enforcement come to their houses? You know, there's been people that have been pulled out their car and got their ass whooped under what they consider to be indicta, under a true bill, under a commercial act. I don't know if you guys are seeing what I'm seeing, but check this out. The endorsement made by a grand jury. Endorsement. We've been talking about endorsements, right? Endorsement. We're gonna go back to endorsement. We're gonna go back to endorsement. Hey, I didn't do this. This is where it led me to. I ain't had this plan. This is not malice of forethought. Let me stop playing. But look. Okay, so this is an endorsement made by a grand jury upon a bill of indictment. When they find it sustained by the evidence. So that means you got people in there objecting and going back and forth that sustained, denied, sustained. What was it? Overruled, sustained. They're having a whole court action before you even get hemmed up. A bill of indictment when they find it sustained by the evidence laid before them and are satisfied of the truth of the accusation. Hello. Goodbye. Yeah. All right, so he's right. He ain't lying. Let's get back to it. I ain't looking at the chat right now. We flowing.
If you don't pay the bill, an indictment is a bill, true bill. If you don't pay the bill, you're brought up on charges. You're tried for those charges. This particular case, the woman, the grandmother, had 4 felony counts of.
All right. Man, I gotta figure out where. Wait a minute. I want to make sure where am I at right now. All right, let's go.
Fraud. Each had a penal sum, each count had a penal sum of $2 million.
Now, the one thing that he didn't mention, or if he did mention it, it went over, it went past me. I didn't think he really hammered it home. But when you look at these standard forms, because I looked at them, they have penal sum on them. It's not just standard form 273, 274, and 275. You got standard form 24, 25, 25A. You also have standard form 1444. You have a lot of different ones that deal with it. But a lot of them deal with actual contracts, not just any contract, construction contracts. But they have penal sum on it.
That's $8 million total. In addition to that $8 million, the judge was going to receive $95,000 in what they call net retention, and the prosecutor $50,000 per count. 4 counts.
Watch this one.
Oh no, because they share that with the defense attorney that she had, that she paid $27,000 out of her pocket to represent.
Did you guys hear that? Even the motherfucker that, I mean, excuse my language. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to curse. Look, even the attorney that she paid for 27 G's is still getting paid. So just think what a public defender is getting paid.
Her. So what is the legal definition of the word attorney? Anybody know? Not the ones that watched my class. Gotta watch him. An actor to a turn. The legal definition of the word actor is someone who gets up on stage and lies convincingly enough to make you believe in the character and the plot. Therefore, a liar. What is to a turn? To steal from one and turn over to another. So by the very definition of their profession, they're liars and thieves. See, God only warned us.
I look at it like this, right? I look at it like this. Nah, I ain't showing my video. I ain't showing my face today. I'm pissed. Like, every time I listen to this stuff, you know, ain't no need. We're going to talk about it. It's Monday. See, these things that you see every day. I mean, by his definition, right? He took a little step further. Well, he took it a little step further, right? So you look at it from an example of what you would consider to be somebody that is actually up there. They're getting paid. Anybody can go in their mind if they've been in this situation, know somebody been in this situation, witnessed this and everything. You have somebody that actually that you thought that you had put thousands of dollars in their pocket just to get a lesser charge on that tip. You see what I'm saying? But if you actually put that same type of conversation, those definitions into just some regular stuff, well, we not to consider to be criminal, but even in a transaction to buy a house, to buy a car, to get utilities, like the other guy was saying, and I'm gonna play this guy again, to do all this type of stuff, you are still in this same position as if you're participating in a crime. Like they know that they're baiting you into it. This is what I'm getting out of it. It's like they're baiting you and they're putting you in a coercive position to participate in a crime by the application. Now, what we're going to do right here real quick, and we're going to go back to the Facebook guy. We're going to go back to that guy right here. We're going to do that. But I'm going to pull up this right here. 5 USC 102 definitions, right? So we're going to go right here. Nope, not USC. UCC. My bad. We're going to go here to definitions. We brought this up yesterday, right? So we're going to pull up application. Applicant means a person whose request or for whose account a letter of credit is issued. The term includes a person who requests an issuer to issue a letter of credit on behalf of another if the person making the request undertakes an obligation to reimburse the issuer. That's an applicant. Now let's come back over here. Let's go back over here and let's go.
Here's the thing. They are the public trustee in reality. They construe it to make us the fiduciary and trustee to perform by our consent and ignorance of the operation of law. Does that make sense? And we consent to be in that position. And our applications authorizes them to monetize whatever instrument is created from that application, whether it's an application for a cell phone, an application to buy a house, an application to buy a car, an application for your electric bill, an application for your landline.
Excuse me. Excuse me. All right. Got it? So, the applicant. So he's not lying. He's not off at all. An applicant is somebody that issues a letter of credit. And your endorsement is that. So let's go to UCC 3-205. Endorsement, special endorsement, blank endorsement. Now you remember the grand jury endorses something, right? And they spelled it with I, endorsement. If an endorsement is made by the holder of an instrument, whether payable to an identified person or payable to bearer, an endorsement identifies a person to who it makes the instrument payable, it is a special endorsement. So this endorsement is like when they endorse it, it's being paid. It's being paid. See what I'm saying? That's dealing with payment. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to come back here and we're going to go to Article 3, negotiable instruments. I want you to see this. Under the circumstances, what we're dealing with. I think we flowing, right? Under Article 3, it deals with negotiable instruments. Let's go to the definitions. And then I'm going to wrap it up. Because I don't want to overload you. You know, when I get going, I get going. So, you know that, you know, talking about MC, you know, can hold a crowd. And I do this. I just want you to know I do this like every day. So this ain't nothing I'm making up. I can go right there. I can spit it. And it's going to go right to the source. So don't be mad at me. Be mad at the system. Be mad at your ancestors because we created all this stuff. We just lost it. We just put it in the hands of some different type of people. So we have acceptor, consumer, consumer transaction, drawee, drawer, maker, order, ordinary care, party, principal, promise, prove, remitter, remotely, secondary obligor, accommodated party, accommodation party, account, authoriz, anomalous endorsement. Here we go. 3-205. Blank endorsement. 3-205. Endorser. 3-204. Endorsement. 3-204. Issuer. 3-105. Issue. 3-105. Negotiable instrument. 3-104. Note 3-104. Everything that you know to be true in your mortgage, and the mortgage is spelled out. See, the cars, they run it a little bit different, but it's still the language is in there, but you can see all of that stuff there. So if you're dealing with something that's supposed to be dealing with the land and all this stuff, and it's been turned into some type of commercial transaction that you don't know about because they say you're a consumer. Consumer's not in here. Consumer's not in here. But how about we do this? How about we do this? How about we do this? Let's go over here. Consumer in UCC law. Let's go to Section 9, right? So we go to Section 9. Article 9 deals with secure transactions. So we're going to go 9-102 in definitions. Let's come down here to all right. Well, let's go to consumer. Now, if they're operating by the UCC, they're actually coming at you as a consumer debtor. So if that's the case, we're dealing with a consumer transaction, means a debtor in a consumer transaction. So by that consumer transaction, we know it to be what? It means a transaction in which an individual incurs an obligation primarily for personal, family, or household purposes. Personal, family, or household purposes. 2, a security interest secures the obligation. So if I got an obligation and I got a security interest to secure the obligation, and 3, the collateral is held or acquired primarily for personal, family, or household purposes, then who is the one that is supposed to be the creditor and who is the one that's supposed to be the debtor? That's the trick. Okay. So debtor means a person having an interest. Remember, a debtor is one that's having an interest other than a security interest or other lien in the collateral, whether or not the person is an obligor. Now, see, this is tricky. But a debtor is one having an interest, right? Remember, Schedule A. Schedule A says that you are the owner in the estate or interest in the land. Got it? Maybe not. All right. So just want to get you there on that. We ain't going to spend too much time because, look, we got a lot of work to do. I just want to throw this out there so you guys can get it if you want to get it. If you're here just for support, I appreciate that. Hit the like, share it out. Now, if we're dealing with the applicant, here's what we're dealing with. So just know that. Let's finish this guy off real quick. And here we go.
All those applications is essentially a power of attorney. And they use that power of attorney. You as the creditor authorize them to create securities that are of your minor account.
Check. I just read those off. Check. Check. We read those off. All right, let's go.
And they operate that account in your absence. Because mom, when she did the birth registration, never allonged.
Got allonged in here. We looked up allonge. We could go back and do it again. We could look it up one more time. One more time. What is an allonge? What is a allonge? Let's go all the way up. Let's go to allonge. What we got here? I mean, come on, man. Yo. Allonge. There we go. All right. All right, right here. Right here. So we here on the allonge, right? So an allonge. So what he's saying that our parents didn't affix, right? They didn't affix or annex a piece of paper to a bill of exchange or a promissory note. Look, the certificate of live birth was an application. It started off as an application to have questions, right? Now we know that application is a letter of credit because the applicant is the one that issues the letter of credit. Now, under the circumstances, did you know that your certificate of live birth is a promissory note? Did you know it was a bill of exchange? Did you know that it was a how can I say this? How can I say this? It was a note.
And how much was that?
So under those circumstances, this is what we have. So it says this allonge, based on what this guy was saying. All right.
So
this guy is saying that you annex a bill of exchange or a promissory note on which to write endorsements for which there is no room on the instrument itself. Okay. You know, I mean, I'm just saying. That's what he said. That's just what he said. That is just what he said. Appreciate everybody being here. We're going to leave it. Oh, no, I can't do that. I can't do that. Did I do that? Oh, no, we got to listen to a little bit more of what he was talking about. We got to listen to a little bit more.
A will or a letter of intent.
All right. That was the last part. The will or letter of intent. Now, let's go over here to a will. And we're going to go first to letter. We're going to go in alphabetical order. We're going to go to a letter. Now tie it into, right? Because this is Indian business. This is Aboriginal, Indigenous, Indian business. You understand? First and foremost, under the secondary part is that being in a position of a suspect classification that entitled us to some recourse, remedy, restoration, reparations, or restitution, or what you want to say, based on takings. Takings. And we're going to get to that too. Based on takings. You got to understand what it is. We're not worried about those people that are considered to be United States citizens, right? Because based on everything that you heard from me, you would know for a fact now that you're never, if you are considered to be in those suspect classification of black, Negro, colored, or what they talk about in violations, right? You never was a United States citizen. And if you did come as a United States citizen, you did it voluntarily and you participated in business transactions. But at the same time, you never at any point in time gave up your indigenous status or your natural status of who you are. Now, we at this time, us young buckins, we ain't talking about the elders way back then, but us young buckins, we, they changed the game. And this is what we know. When we've been doing this for so long, we know that they changed the game. And they try to adjust it so that way they can, get in. And really all they wanted to be able to get in was these attorneys, these British accredited registered agents, in order to be able to turn us over, in order to give us the transfer title within some type of predatory contract or predatory loan or predatory credit installment contract or retail sales installment contract, to be able to usurp us out of our position and have some type of encumbrance or some tenements on our land. And at the same time, what we call it, invasion of the body snatchers, change titles, change names, and be able to have the position of owner and landlord. When you know that you can't even believe your lying eyes that it actually says within the instruments that you have in your possession right now, says that you're the owner in the estate with interest in the land. Ain't that something? Ain't that beautiful? Yeah, I mean, look, I'm a competitor at the highest level. Man, you can't be mad. You can't hate the player. You can't hate the game. You can hate the ref because the ref cheating. You know you have a fiduciary responsibility. You know that. You have a fiduciary responsibility. And guess what? You didn't already took a deal on the back end. You didn't put that shit in the back pocket. You got Las Vegas telling you what to do at the goddamn, not the sports book, not the casino, but Wall Street, right? And you already know that you got this, that, and the other in the back. So you're going to do what? You're going to invest in what? You're going to put your stock and your money in what stock? Oh, that stock that you got somebody that's going to labor. How about that? But again, what do I know? All right. So let's get over here to letters of intent. And then I'll be done. JKL. Let's see if we got something here. Here we go. Let's see what we got. I don't read this stuff. Some people just be reading this stuff that just be crazy. I mean, they read the whole thing. I'm not reading all this. Nah. I deal with it as it comes. You know what I'm saying? So it says letter, one of arbitrary marks or characters constituting the alphabet. All right. Let's go to letter of N. It's got to be in here. It's got to be. Nope, it's not in here. Letter of intent. So we don't have that. Let's go to will. Let's go to will. And then we're done. I appreciate you guys coming. I'm looking over here. Guys, I guess I said something that y'all like to hear. You know what I mean? Look, I'm telling y'all, man, it's not rocket science. It's really not. TUVWWWW. Oh, here we go. It's not rocket science. It's not rocket science. I mean, come on now. There we go. Okay. Will, no, auxiliary verb, sense of shall or must. Okay, so will, an auxiliary, this is verb. An auxiliary verb commonly having the mandatory sense of shall or must. Let me do this real quick. Let me show you something. Fire Marshal Bill. Title 25, USC 175. Took me straight to this. You know what I thought of? Shall and must? See, these are the people that I want to say, are you an Indian or are you not? This is where you're going to stand on something. You can't jump around and say you this and say you that. You gotta connect the dots. I don't want to seem like I'm yelling at y'all. I want to connect the dots. I want you guys to connect the dots. That's why I say you gotta know American history. And if you have connected the dots, as I have, then you will know you got to apply it all. And what we're dealing with right now within the continental United States and how they view us, right? But you can't say they're the ones that gave us that name. You got to be the one to say that we told them to call us that for a specific reason. Because we're not going to bring our family names into your continental, colorable United States as we have you. As we have you. If you know the law and you see what's going on, this is what's happening, because the only people that are mentioned are Indians. Why is that? Because everybody was under penal. Under the penal sum. Under penal law. Right? It's indenture. So if you come up in there, you're taxed. You're fine. You're on penal. Everything. It just deals with the venue and the conversation and the language. That's why I say this language that was created within the United States, continental United States, was intentionally ambiguous and bastardized. So that way they was only be able to function within a certain parameter of square. And they couldn't get out of that. How they was able to get out of it, that's a whole nother story. But right here, it says under 25 USC section 175, United States attorneys to represent Indians. In all states and territories where there are reservations or allotted Indians, the United States attorney shall represent them in all suits at law and in all equity. I added the all in equity. Shall. What does that mean? What does that mean? Let's go back. Let's go back. What does that mean? An auxiliary verb commonly having the mandatory sense of shall or must. Must. Not an option. Mandate. Writ of mandamus. Writ of prohibition. Writ of quo warranto. Right. So look, it is a word of certainty. Certainty. While the word may is one of speculation and uncertainty. So when you say shall or shall, you must. You have no choice. This is what it needs to be. Listen to me, people. I want you to understand your power. If you understand what it is, that's what it is. Now let me give you something else. Let me give you something else. Let me give you 174. 25 USC 174, superintendents by president over tribes west of the Mississippi. Say over. You guys say, he's over us. No, listen closely to the language. The president is authorized. Who did the authorization? To exercise. Remember fiduciary responsibility, right? I'm about to move around with you real quick, right? What did it say? What did it say? What did he say? He said right here that the express otherwise, the power is delegated to a public officer or held in trust for the people and are to be exercised. All right, so let's go back over here. Let's go back. Let's go back. So the president is authorized to exercise general superintendents, right? You remember them back in the days. What did they call a janitor? A superintendent. Somebody that cleaned up, washed the windows, did all these different type of things, right? Right? And care. Remember we talked about the fiduciary relationships and care. What is a trustee? What is a fiduciary? They have a duty to care over any tribe or nation which was removed upon an exchange of territory under authority of the Act of May 28, 1830. Now, people say, well, the 1830, that was the Indian Removal Act, and all these different things happened. No, that's not true. Now, this is a quick digression, sidebar per se. So I want to bring it in on some other aspects, right? Because we're talking civics and we're talking commerce, contract law, doing business, right? So under the circumstances, upon an exchange of territory, exchange under authority of the Act to provide for an exchange of lands with the Indians residing in any of the states or territories, and for their removal west of the Mississippi. So that was an agreement. It was enforced. So that means once you do that, you make sure that you have a fiduciary responsibility, you as our trustee, to do X, Y, and Z. And to cause such tribe or nation to be protected. Thank you. Make sure, because you got a bunch of weirdos running around here that got an issue that in this land. Your people, control your people over there, right? Remember I showed you the treaties with Washington in regards to them having to regulate their citizens in regards to doing business with us, right? Right. Okay. Now, and to cause such tribe or nation to be protected in their new residence against all interruption or disturbance. Thank you. Don't bother me. Don't bother me from any other tribe or nation of Indians or from any other person or persons whatsoever. You got it? Good. I just wanted to give you that example. All right. So let's go back over here to will. All right. So let's go back. It is a word of certainty, while the word may is one of speculation and uncertainty. All right. Will, noun, wish, desire, pleasure, inclination, choice, the faculty of conscious, and especially of deliberate action. Deliberate action. Not I tripped and fall and I can't get up. All right. When a person expresses his will that a particular disposition be made of his property, his words are words of command. And the word will, as so used, is mandatory, comprehensive, and dispositive in nature. All right? You got it? You can't jump over here and be the victim and then over here be and then over here, you're jumping back and forth. Where are you at right here? There is no victims. You are the one that has full authority. Now, let's go to the law of wills. The legal expression or declaration of a person's mind or wishes as to the disposition of his property to be performed or take effect after his death. A revocable instrument by which a person makes disposition of his property to take effect after his death. Hours, any instrument whereby a person makes a disposition to his property to take effect after his death. A written instrument executed with the formalities of law whereby a person makes a disposition of his property to take effect after his death. Okay, so this is more what they're dealing with in law, dealing with death. But if you go a little bit more, if you got Black's Law, it's cool. You know, you can go through this, but the initial taking the verb and the noun is given authority. Now, if I come back here to prescribe, right? We talk about prescribe. Remember prescribe? Let's go back to prescribe. This is a term that a lot of people never knew, including me, that this is interesting, that had a legal definition to it. All right. Let's go here. We're just going to go straight. We're going to go real property law, and then we're going to go back to international law. In real property law, the name given to a mode of acquiring title to incorporeal hereditaments by immemorial or long continued enjoyment. That's prescription. I'm going backwards this time. I'm going to go from right to left on this one. All right. Hereditaments, immemorial. International law, acquisition or sovereignty over a territory with continuous and undisputed exercise of sovereignty over it during such a period as is necessary to create under influence. I'm busy. Right? So international law, acquisition of sovereignty over a territory through continuous and undisputed exercise of sovereignty. Now, let's come back up here to prescribe, to assert a right or title to the enjoyment of a thing on the ground of having hitherto had the uninterrupted and immemorial enjoyment of it. Now, let's go over here to Indian. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. I want to talk about it. I want to see if anybody disagree with me. I'm about to put the link in the chat in a minute. Let's deal with something that we have. Where you at? Where you at? So the people, oh, they're going indenture right there, but we'll get back to that. But there it is, right there. Indenture, a deed. Okay, that's enough. There you go. Okay, Indian country. Let's deal with Indian country. Let's deal with Indian country. Where are we at? There it is. As the term is used in the federal statutes, is a country to which the Indians retain the right to use and occupancy involving under certain restrictions, freedom of action and of enjoyment in their capacity as a distinct people, and ceases to be such when their title is extinguished unless by virtue of some reservation. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. Indian title. Here we go. Take notes. Claim of Indian tribes a right because of immemorial occupancy to roam certain territory to the exclusion of any other Indians. Now, they want to say that. This is how they kind of play around in their things or whatever to create some type of things against other Indians. But look, check that out, though. What did it say? Immemorial occupancy. What did we say in the prescribe and prescription? What was we talking about there? Oh, let's go to the next one. Indian tribe, a separate and distinct community or body of the Aboriginal Indian race of men found in the United States. Indians, the Aboriginal inhabitants of North America. Anything else? It's interesting when we go over here, we back to what? Indicta. Appreciate y'all. That was a good thing. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put the link in the chat and I'm gonna look at the whatchamacallits. Links in the chat, y'all. We are at 425. I went way over. Wait, it's 234. I wasn't that bad. Okay, appreciate you, Tamula. All right, old dude. Yeah. Like you clarify that. What we got right here? Old dude, head scratcher. All right, go through this real quick. Engine radio. Oh, dude, our people were being big bullies, probably. Hold on, let me go. Is this stuff of traders or did I miss something? No. See, this is the thing, right? This is a good question. Let me put this up again. Is this stuff of traders or did I miss something? He said miss something. You know, old dude's old dude. I don't know if he messed himself, but he had that in his mind. But I think he meant miss. I'm messing with you, old dude. But look, if you look at it, it's like that's the key question. Were these of traders or not? But under the circumstances, if you have created the United States, right? I mean, there's been plenty of talk of people that was, actually, Bab had a good one. I just was listening to his earlier. He had a good one. Old dude, older cat came up there from Mississippi, and he was talking about how we was actually giving them things. So, you know what I'm saying? Under the circumstances, you know, if we were the ones to assist and create, I mean, all the history books say that the Iroquois and, you know, these indigenous nations, these empires here, you know, made sure that they set up their charters because they were, and the dude from Mississippi has said that these people were dying because they were starving. You know, once we gave them their land and stuff like that, and after they served their things, they got their little lands, they couldn't do nothing. They couldn't figure out how to do agriculture. They couldn't figure out how to function on this land. So they was dying. You know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, they went into their old ways of, you know, that thuggery shit that they was doing, if I can use that word. You know, and they was giving off diseases and they was making it tough in the surrounding areas because we wasn't that far off. That's why we kept them by the water, old dude. We kept them by the water. They could not get past no more than 10 square mile radius from the water. And those are your forts or your ports or what you have, those forts. That's where they was at. And when you see in the History Channel, we see them white folks over there by them ports, that's about the realest shit that they actually show. That them cats was wearing like one-piece diaper sets. You know what I'm saying? Where you unbutton the shit in the back, and then you got to take a shit and you unbutton it, and you wiping your ass with dirt and your own rags. Yeah, that was them. So we had to show them how to farm. We had to show them how to do these things because we needed them to survive in order to make that investment. And there was other people that, you know, you have your sympathizers, or what you would consider to be those what was those people, the Whigs and the those other little groups and stuff like that back in the day that was actually fighting against what? It was fighting against that slavery shit. You know what I'm saying? Those abolitionists. There you go. You had abolitionists, then you had your Presbyterians, you had your Lutherans, you had your Anabaptists. You had all these different groups that was coming up in there, old dude. So yeah, it was an investment, and the investment was more or less getting us out of some agreements with a foreign, because what you would consider to be the British. This is my own speculation on it. I look at it. these people that was over here, they was here for so long now. They've been here for like 200, 300, 400 years. So, well, no. You're talking about 1700, 16, 17. Yeah, they've been here for like about 200, 300 years. So under the circumstances, you look like, yeah, we got you here now. So we don't need them no more. So we don't need the British. We don't need none of them people. So now we're going to deal with you. And we're going to set you up your charges, do all that shit. And they kept fucking up, and they fucking up to this day. Excuse my language. You see what I'm saying? So I don't believe that the people actually that set this up was traitors. I think these people rather do business with these groups of people that was indentured servants and criminals and shit like that. That shit backfired. It backfired because they didn't even know they had 007s up over here watching them. Yeah. All right, so that was a good question, though. That was a good question. Yeah. All right, y'all. Y'all got it. Y'all got it. Y'all got it. I went a little bit over, though. You know what I'm saying? I went a little bit over. But yeah. Hey, peace, peace, peace. Ross Noddy, Heartfelt Center / J Dub. What's going on, my brothers? Y'all can go ahead and get it in. That's right. Isness backfired. Yep. Isness. Shout out.
Am I double dealing?
Nah, I can hear you.
Okay, cool.
Yep, go ahead.
No, I'm just mic checking.
All right, that's what's up. Ross, what's going on, my brother?
Yeah, you ever read the American Antiquities Act of 1909? I think it was Roosevelt did that by a public proclamation, superseding Congress.
All right, 1906.
Yep, 1906. Yep.
All right, let me grab it.
And also, the United States attorney are appointed, and is only appointed by a administrative process, and they're actually appointed to represent the United States government in any civil litigation, and also um, um, recoup resources and finances owed to the United States. So when it says that the United States Attorney General shall orchestrate or operate for the Indians, or in the representation of the Indians, that's actually like a state property identification under the United States. And again, we got to understand these certain terminologies that we're identifying with. The name might sound like it's non-corporate structured, but it is corporate structured. It is definitely 100% culture,
I agree.
corporate structured.
I agree.
If you go and look at the Antiquities Act of 1906, it's telling you in that act that goddamn from land to marine, the president now can go and um control all cultural landscapes and identify it under the United States jurisdiction.
I'm looking at that. And the interesting thing in 1906, right, at the same time, that's when Oklahoma became a state. You know, they became a state in 1906, 07, something like that. And I'm telling you, like, this has been my whole thing. And I know this is way outside of left field, but Oklahoma was like Washington, D.C. for all the empires. I totally believe that, because when Oklahoma became incorporated as a state, all shit went to hell. You know what I'm saying? It just went to hell.
Well, you know why, right?
No.
Oklahoma was the biggest probate. They had the largest probate freaking court system in the world, Oklahoma. So the probate, I guess, links to the what do you call it, the bankruptcy and all that, or just how they administer the estate. So that's the main theft, is that probate court to this day. So they had the largest probate system in the world was out of Oklahoma before it was a state. So that's telling you was the Aboriginals basically was running that shit first. And so it was so big, that's what they went to take over. That's where I sent you that article on Warren Renty, where, yeah, you know what I'm talking about. That's basically where they do the little joke on the allotments, where somehow they allotted your kids some land that they thought they was going to creep on them, but they didn't know they had a daddy that was willing to pull the trigger on them. So that was Warren Renty. He said, over my dead body. So they locked the nigga up like they do. And then, but he had all the rights and all the power behind him. And basically 2, 3, 4 years, I think it was within that time, the state became, or that territory became a state. So they had appointed his family a guardian. And he said, over my dead body, you showed the video, over my dead body, will you be a guardian of my children? So it was about those allotments, those oil allotments, because that American Creek Indian Oil Company was running since 1840 at least. So the richest people in the world were coming out of the Oklahoma territory.
My uncle, my third grade uncle, and me and Nadia, I showed him the court case. We was up here. I showed him that court case. We read through that court case. That's my third grade uncle. That's my mom's daddy's grandmother's uncle. I mean brother. That he, not just him, but he was the big dog. It was the big dog. I'm talking about. I got pictures. That dude got oil wells behind him. Big land, everything. And the only way they was able to get him off, they set him up and he popped somebody and he had to go.
Well, that means they went and got at your females too. He could say it, because they were setting up the women, they were murdering everybody. This is like when the FBI became, their first case was down in Oklahoma against there was all these bodies dropping. I sent you that movie, man, Flowers of something Moon. But that movie talks about it, Martin Scorsese. They talk about those allotments. They give it to the $5 Indian that had nothing to do with it. So they obscure the real truth. But nonetheless, they show you how much murder was going on over them damn allotments. And it was called a tree, where these people I'm talking about is Standard Oil, BP. These motherfuckers were just buyers. They weren't even buyers. They just had a job.
The movie's called Flowers of a Pale Moon.
Yeah, flowers, not a pale moon, but flowers of a something moon. And that movie is by Martin Scorsese. They got Robert De Niro, Leonardo DiCaprio. So Leonardo DiCaprio, let me put it to you like this. All the squads is dying before they 50, deliberately. And then they bust in the Cap and the brothers. They just making them seem like they're these little $5 Indians. But these are niggas that they just, you be drinking. And these motherfuckers hold your tab at the bar. So they're making up a whole bunch of shit, man, to tell the story.
Let me share something. Let me share something with y'all before y'all go. Hold on real quick, Derek. The reason why I haven't watched that movie, J Dub,
why?
When you explain it to me, when I tell you that pretty much my dad's people, I mean my mom's father's people were pretty much dying before they was 50. I got a bunch of them out there.
My mother today, bro, that ain't no ancient shit. That's current.
I mean, some of them didn't make it past 30.
Yeah. And they removed ovaries and shit in women that was 18. That happened to my auntie. So, man, we
what they was getting hit with? They was getting hit with tuberculosis. Everything that said on their death certificate said tuberculosis.
Bro, they was killing our people, bro, by bullet and by needle.
Go ahead. Y'all got go ahead.
Y'all understand the Civil War started in 1865. It didn't end until 1965.
There we go.
Period.
He's correct. That's the silent. That's why our people are what they call it, the silent generation. That's the silent generation that's involved in that too.
Well, it's the silent generation, but the generation before that, called the lost generation, is the generation that actually made the deal.
Yeah, but okay.
Okay.
My
But
auntie that just passed.
the deal was made in American Indians' favor. After the deal was made, then they came with the shenanigans. And that happened little bit by little bit by little bit. Because they couldn't take over the financial reign of this country at one time. It's impossible to do.
And so why is that? Why is that, Derek?
Because free trade before they was a central bank was free trade. I can't make you make a deal with another motherfucker. Period. The deal you made with another motherfucker is your deal. I can't make you go, okay, well, fuck that deal. You got to pay him in this. No, that's between you two. You two made this deal. That's why they created the central bank, so they can take over all deals. Because now all deals are regulated in this particular currency. Period.
I mean, it was
so
a
when
strategy.
they decided to do
Silver
that,
and
our
gold.
people fought back.
I'm not arguing with you. I'm learning. I'm just saying
Okay.
that movie, that show. Go ahead, Naughty.
Yeah, I was gonna get with Aton. These probate courts origin is in the 1400s, bro, and it's a King's Court or Court of Chancery, and in turn turned into a Court of Equity. We're identifying them with probate as probate, but it's the Court of Equity, and it's actually bringing um, damages and equity under one roof and giving order to the um, administrative or the jurisdiction of um, criminal law or um, Article 2 operations.
Have you ever filed in a chancery court?
Yeah.
So I filed in the one in Tennessee. I had a homie in New York. These people didn't want to do what we asked, but they filed it. They received it. So I did. That's when I learned that you're not stopping me. So we took it to the chancery court down in Tennessee, and I got what I wanted. I was able to exemplify my order because they did the order, but these fuckers said they couldn't type in lowercase. That's what New York said. You know, the dumb shit. So they thought they had us, but I'm like, nigga, I got to receive on this document. So I just sent that shit, packaged it up, sent it down to the chancery court, gave it 30 days for them to review and for anyone to oppose it and say nay. No one said nay. So it's a public posting, whatever they call that. Next thing I know, my shit's done. I got my exemplary, my filing exemplified because New York didn't want to do it. You know how they act stupid when you're pushing them to do what you want done. So they tell you some dumb shit. The computer don't know how to print up lowercase. That's the excuse, man. Now, to me, you know, you should be fired, whatever. Never come back to the office saying some dumb shit. Don't tell me in today's day a computer can't type lowercase. But that's the kind of shit that they tell a nigga when he handling his business. So we just took it to another jurisdiction, and an equitable one, because they already received the document. So they received everything, my affidavit and all the shit that I filed. So I just took it to the next level. and we got the remedy we needed.
Okay. Yeah, I filed
So
for
yeah,
my
I'm
When you
familiar with
filed
you.
your affidavit, what numbers
I
did you
filed for
use?
my power of
Wait,
attorney.
what you say, Derek?
When you filed for that affidavit, what
Uh-huh.
numbers did you use?
Well, I used the one that was generated out of the New York court,
Okay.
right?
I used a
Now I'm gonna
certificate
tell
of
you.
mailing. Certificate
Did
of
you
mailing.
hear? Did you hear this whole video that he was playing, like all the different videos?
I watched everything.
Okay,
What are you
you
trying to
heard
say?
the man say it was one important thing that caught my eye, and he was saying that this works through a minor account.
Okay.
Okay, if there's a minor account, what else is there?
There's a major.
No, it's
Right.
not a major.
Now,
Yes, there is.
now,
No, it's not.
now.
Okay, well,
Okay,
well,
okay.
hold that
I,
thought.
I, okay, right. Because he, this is where we have a problem because you can't get a minor without a major.
Wrong.
Period. Okay. Is there a minor league in baseball?
I mean,
Yeah.
we're already with you, Derek. Just forget that shit he's saying. Just go on with your
All right,
case, so
cool.
you can finish it.
Okay.
Right.
Now we have to understand that the minor account is directly attached to a major account. What they're not telling you is what is the major account? If you can create negotiable instruments that I sign, when I sign it, that means you're going into my account, take the money out, and then loan it back to me on my minor account.
Yeah, that's what that shit was saying. That was so
So
confusing.
how can they create negotiable instruments?
You
They're
got to
creating it
understand. If
after
you
your
understand how this
abandonment
But
works,
how?
no, no,
because
no,
your
no.
abandonment. You abandoned by not
But they're
proving your
acting
life.
as fiduciary for the minor account
Yeah,
because
but
there is no major account in place.
because you didn't claim your claims, you didn't make your claims on those names.
You did not create the major account.
Well, you don't have to create it. It was created
Yeah.
for you, but
No, no, no.
they used your
The minor account is created for you.
oh.
The major account
From
is considered your
where? Okay,
trust,
from where?
your
Where
estate
are
banking.
the assets coming from
Bro,
to give you this
listen,
account?
All right, one mic. Let's go. One mic. We can't get active this early. Come on, y'all just got here.
They're doing good. They're doing good. What you talking about?
so you have to create the major account as a living soul or a living entity, a living
Yeah, proof.
person.
That's the proof of life, Naughty. We got it.
Right, proof
Proof
of
of life.
life. That creates a major account because the minor account is created under entity or fictitious or a the straw man. You got to have proof of life to go and pull from the minor account.
You're alive, right? If you're alive,
You
you
have to
can actually
create these things, brother. It don't create itself.
no, 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 no. It's already created. You have to in turn do
Did,
what you need to do to access it.
did you hear what the brethren said earlier in the video
About what specifically?
about there's not a letter of moral intent? Which again, hold on. Again, Aton, you'll find the letter of intent or the letter of moral intent inside of the Black Law Second Edition. These words, prior edition still stands. It's just we don't we kind of go with the 12th edition since it's the latest and think that's it. But that's all the edition still stands in definition. But let me move forward. The letter of intent is not being created with the birth certificate. So it's not giving any sign of a major account holder or beneficiary. So by the minor account being created off an application, that's already being operated and orchestrated by fiduciaries of that minor account. When you go or your mother go and fill out that application, the long form, birth certificate, there's not a um that letter of intent pushed with it. So it's just going off of the application alone, which it's a power of attorney application that's giving your fiduciary agents operating in that minor account full authority to create and access funds off of your identity or your exemption.
All right,
But
so
that's
so
done.
wait, real quick, because I finally got a question on the board. Isn't this asked a question? It's a good question for everybody. I mean, because Derek has done things. J. Dub has done things. I've done things. Nadia has done things. We pretty much have put ourselves our head on the chopping block, saying, we push this information. So isn't this asked a question? Does any of this help anybody? Or is this just info to know?
Can I answer that
first? Go ahead, J-Dub. You stepped out there.
Well, I will say I had to use it because of the situation with my son and my baby mama. Now, yeah, it worked. Because when I put that trust on, when I let them know there was a trust in effect, whatever they asked me for a W-8 or a W-bin, right? So I had to provide that. I had it. So when I sent that to them, they sent me paperwork. Now, I didn't open up the child support claim. The baby mama did, right? And I don't like to call her that, but my son's mother, she filed whatever, and these fuckers came up in my claim. Now,
language.
Man, I just said one cuss word, but I got you.
Not necessarily.
So they came up in my situation, and they filed saying whatever was what on her behalf. Now it's my claim, but when we came back to that W-bin, and I put it on record that there's a W-bin, there's a trust involved. They closed out the whole child support claim, sent me back documentation as if we were married. We were never married, but they sent my name on top of it as if it was a joint account, so to speak. And she was the
under the parents' patriot. I mean, the father is the head. So
yeah,
you claimed everything, you put everything. I mean, you give them bits and pieces. So, once you did that, right? So under child support, right? So you pretty much claimed everything, solidified everything within. Let me just say from my perspective, right? Because you pretty much did kind of the same thing. I went a different route, but it worked. But under the circumstances, once you make a claim and put everything on there, and you remove the power of attorney from the government or the Department of Child Support Services, then now they have no more claim as the parent, right? So that child no longer, not just the child, the woman too, is no longer a ward of estate. They now are under the protection of Heartfelt Center. You feel what I'm saying?
That's right. That's right. Now, Isness, when I sent that in, what he said is correct, because basically, but they're not going to say that. So if you don't know any better, then it ain't going to be no better. But I wasn't trying to hurt the queen. I just didn't want her to keep just jabbing at me and making it just be such a horrible situation. So I killed that noise, and they basically obliged me, like Aton said, but there was something that she could have done to get the remedy that I put in front of her. But she didn't understand that.
Now let me say this too to all the women, to all our sisters. I'm not saying you, Business. I'm not saying you, any woman, I'm just saying to any woman that might be listening in this situation, I know you don't hate that your baby's father that bad. What you can do is go to the Department of Child Support Services. They have a form that you can fill out and say, you know what? We're good. We don't need your assistance. Take him off. You know what they're going to do? Take him off. That's what they're going to do. That's if you just don't hate him to his core. You know what I'm saying? The other thing is that get them folks out your business. You see what I'm saying? Let that man stand on his own. What? Karma. You understand? That's the key eventually. But once he sees that you walk through there and say, you know what, take him off. You know what that man gonna do? He gonna make a decision. Oh shit. Yeah. That's the conversation you need to have. But if you didn't know that, now you know.
Yeah, that's for sure. So I'm not saying that to try to be like beat upon the baby mama, because that's not what it's about. It just was, I had much more to lose than she had.
Do you know that, I'm talking to the women now, do you know that the money that they so-called taken from that daddy, y'all probably getting a fraction of that?
A fraction. I already know. That's why I was laughing at that shit. I'm like, it was my fault. It was my fault.
The game is laundering money.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's
all right.
When you put that W bin, when they know there's a trust involved, a withholding agent, it's game over.
All right, hold on.
Yeah.
There, you up next. You got to deal with the question, my brother. Isness has a question.
What's the question?
That's the question. Does any of this help anybody, or
that's what I was just answering. I thought I was answering that shit. I wasn't answering.
I said Derek. You already answered.
All
Derek. Right. Derek. Now, what's your perspective on this? I mean, because you know a lot of people, Derek, they always think that, you know, we just talking a lot of flim flam. Does this help, or is this just information you can't use? What's up?
Yeah, it helps. But you got to understand the perspective of what you're doing and what you're working with. A lot of people don't understand the perspective. If you look at it like a chessboard, you got a black side and a white side. One play offense, one play defense. Now, most black people think that we all playing on the same side. We all on the white side. No, actually, we are the black side. We have our own budget. We have our own everything on our side. Now, if you played on our side, then you'll see the results. Now, that's what I mean by numbers. I don't go by letters. I go by numbers. Because Nadi's wrong about the minor account and the major account. They side by side. They use the law in between the two. Because if you play on their side, you got to go by the law. If you play on our side, then you above the law. Period. Now, I can tell anybody, go get your 3 account numbers and watch them work. Period. It's that simple. You can play in their jurisdiction or you can play out of their jurisdiction.
That's power, ain't it? Is that power?
What's good? Mic check, mic check. Can you hear me, brother Aton?
Yes, sir. You up, big
How
dog?
you feeling, David?
Come on, brother. You up?
Everything good. Much love to you, to brother Nadi, brother Derek, and other personal. I ain't sure who it is, but that's a good question. And my answer is yes and no.
Okay.
It works. But if we ain't working the system to make it work, then no.
Well, let me ask you a question then, bro. So if I give my paperwork, I turn it back in, and there says there's a trust on file, and I put $100 million bond, and I have a fiduciary,
as the Secretary of State to handle my businesses, right? I gave him a deposit and I gave him fiduciary instructions. So I gave him these instructions. Now, the missus, the baby mama, the wife, whatever you want to call her, the better half. So at this moment, I'm not trying to harm her at all, but I just want some law and order. Because when you run my child about the jurisdiction, meaning you run my child out of California, we're gonna have some problems. That's just what I'm saying. Now, I'm not saying you can't do what you want to do freely because you're a free woman, but we got a business together here. It's called this child. So I know everything is paid for. Indian, no tax. That's who we are. So if I set shit up and I do things accordingly, and she don't really know what that's about, then what do?
You actually take control of the son.
You take what? Say again?
You go down, you file an SS4 form for your son. Then you file his estate and trust. Then you file his fiduciary. His foreign granted trust. Now you have full control over that entity.
I got you. But what about when these people go? I'm with you 100% on that. That's what I filed, right? That kind of stuff. But these guys act like, okay, well, we're gonna get this nigga on some child support, whatever. So they go to the court.
Child support because this is a dead entity.
Yeah, they didn't get me on that, but what you know is these people run your jacket, and if you're not how they want to make it seem like presented to the court, then they make these fake ass moves, make these words, even though you can fucking fight them later. Nonetheless, they moving forward right now and create a resulting trust. And then they take your asset, which is your child, and they move them out of your estate temporarily. I don't know what you call this shit, but this is what they do. And millions of dollars gets exchanged.
Because you don't have the numbers, which is the account numbers that are his major account number. When you have his major account numbers, they got to prove that the minor account is a person.
Okay, I hear you. But this is what they did. This is what they did. Derek. Derek, what they did. Derek, they said.
When can I get in, bro?
Okay, you just got back on. But Derek, what they said was a nigga was incapacitated. Their words. They said a nigga was. They said the father was in a coma. In a coma. No doctor's report. No nothing. They just said the father is in the coma. So we're gonna create this resulting trust. Now what?
Right. Okay. So now, therefore, that means the father didn't have control of the entity.
Bro, they just made a deliberate statement wasn't true.
Hold on. You got to understand something.
But they made a statement that wasn't true.
And the reason why they can make that statement is because you never gave the court, right? It's one piece of paper. It's called
I'll tell you what we did. You know, have you ever heard of a doctor? Supposedly, a doctor can put in the case what a judge can't fucking do shit about but follow. But they didn't give a fuck. They didn't give a fuck. They said, fuck your doctor. You're in a coma. Nobody said the daddy was in a coma, but they said the daddy was in a coma, and they said they moved forward. Since he's in the coma, nigga ain't here. We're going to do what we're going to do. Okay. I'm just telling you, man, that's real. I can show you every bit and piece of evidence.
Okay. Only thing they're doing is taking control of the account before you do.
No, it's okay, Derek. I'm gonna give you this. Now it's my account number. that set up the initial account with the insurance company. So when the court came in, and they said, okay, we want to be the this is just like that Sarah Proctor shit. Motherfuckers was vying over being her what? They wanted to be the ones that got to be in court that represented her. So once they got her to believe that she didn't have no power and that she needed a Caucasian or pale skin to fucking give her some fucking clout in a court that would make some sense. That's bamboozle bullshit, man. I don't even know how to describe that because there ain't no law.
If I
She had to do that. I'm talking about Sarah Proctor, the billionaire American.
I've been trying to get this through you guys.
All right, come on, y'all. Y'all have an isolated conversation now. Open it up. Let's go.
To understand. So the social security number that you're supposed to have killed off when you did your SS4 that you didn't actually do because you
It
have
was done,
insurance.
bro. Don't assume, make no assumptions. So the social security no assumptions. No assumptions. Just give your angle. Give your angle, bro. Give your angle. I can tell you. I can tell
I
you.
can't be
Jay,
interrupted, bro. I don't want to be
I'm just telling you what you said ain't true. That's it.
I want to be able to speak.
All right. So look, just go ahead. Don't no assumptions. Let's get it.
I'm not giving assumptions.
All right.
Allow me to say what I want to say.
All right. Let him say what he want to say uninterrupted. Then rebut. All right. Let's go.
When the child was born, the identity of the father wasn't in no estate because the child wasn't born under the trust. Or the hospital wouldn't even have any paperwork on the child. By the application being filled out and you putting your name on there as the father, if you did or if you didn't, and by that female going down to the court, giving the name of the father and a social security number, this is how child support came at you, brother.
All right. Stop. All right. I'll give you partial. Yeah, she went and
Why can't
reported.
I finish saying what I'm
Because
saying,
you saying
man?
half truth,
Cheese
bro,
and
in your
bread, bro.
story.
This shit is off the chain.
Go ahead, man. Go ahead. I'm not going to interrupt you. Go ahead. There we go.
This is in all situations. If a child is born in a
You
hospital and
change
that
this shit. I'm just
I'm
saying you
trying,
changed it.
oh my God, bro, this shit is ridiculous. I just sat here and just listened to you guys and didn't open my mouth, bro.
Come
What's
on,
wrong?
man. J-Dub, let this
What's
brother
the
get it
issue?
off.
We can't learn nothing doing this, bro.
Let him get it
Can't.
off, man.
And 99.999% of situations when a child is born in a hospital, it's
There
gonna
you go.
be.
That's better. That's better, Natty. Just speak to the whole. All right. Speak to
That's
the
what I
whole.
was doing at first. He just put himself in that shoe.
All right. Let's go. I got
99.99999% of any child born in a hospital is gonna be up under a minor account. Whether you created your major account or not, they're identifying it under what the paperwork they have already in existence. If you still have an old bill left out from AT&T from 10 years prior to that child being born and you never paid that bill, that debt, that social security number is still in operation. I don't know why we're not coming to this togetherness. If you don't clean your the social up, don't clean it up. Go to the 13 branches of the IRS and send in your WBA in. Go to the Secretary of your state and do a UCC. Go through the Secretary in Puerto Rico of Finances. Go to the fiscal and deal with the revisory agent at the fiscal department. Send out your information or your packet to the England and to Rome and pay for all your documents to have a certificate of mailing or a certified mailing number attached to it to bond it and signatured on the back with a 2-cent stamp. I'm just trying to give you some information. The process is not complete because your shit is still being accessed in avenues you are unaware of. So the government are using those avenues. Whether you have what you have or you don't, you never close the account. The account is never closed. That Social Security office you never identified and closed that Social Security account. It's still open.
All right, let me because we still got businesses question up on the board. Now, so you're saying that SS4, let's take it step by step. You saying the SS4 closes the SS5?
The SS4 closes that straw man, kills the straw man off, and creates your beginning, one of the processes of opening up your major account.
All right, nobody interrupt. I'm going somewhere. So you said it closes. Say that again. It closes the.
It shuts that account down.
Okay,
It's the
so
beginning of shutting that account down. You still got to get notifications that it's shut down because you still
okay,
got.
we gonna do this step by step now.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Everybody get it clear. So it shuts that account down. Now,
It depends on. It depends. It depends on how you open that trust.
right, but it's but the mission is to shut that account down. Now,
It
are
depends.
well, yeah, but I think so. Not depends, but you're
Yeah.
saying that you said that you want to shut that account down, right?
Well, let me tell you why it depends. Because you can call the IRS to do that SS4 and be calling the domesticated hotline. There's a special number to open up a foreign account for the US not to be involved or you
Got it.
be under regulations for that SS4 trust that you're opening up. That's a special number.
But that's not really where I'm going with.
Okay, well, I was just
My
saying,
thing is, I'm talking about money on the table, right? There's money on the
okay,
table.
okay.
So I mean, by everything that I researched, that there is a fund, there is funds that are allotted to that account, right?
To
And
the minor
that
account.
number is considered to be an account number. And there's numbers on the back of the card that's connected with a letter to one of the Federal Reserve banks.
Specific banks, yes, correct.
Right. So there's funds. So if I'm shutting it down, where the funds go, or am I taking those funds and moving it over somewhere into some pass through? What
Well,
goes
well,
on with the funds that's already been allotted to that sister KV?
well. See, by you simply doing the SS4 and shutting that number down, is not actually shut down just by you simply doing that. You got to give out notifications that this process has been taken in effect. Just by you going to create a SS4 doesn't shut down the Social Security straw man.
Right.
It's in preparation to your beginning of your process.
Okay. I'm talking about the funds, credits, or whatever that's within the system, right? That was created through that social and that number, the numbers on the back, and the connection it has to
The
the
birth certificate.
certificate. I'm gonna call it certificate of title.
Okay.
Let's
Okay.
just say, let's use commercial terms because this
Okay.
certificate of title. So the certificate of title that passed through or that vehicle, it moves. Where
Okay.
is it? When I'm not losing that bread, am I? Is that money gone, or is it
It's
been
still in the
moved?
title. The title is representing the finance or the funds.
Okay.
That's the identity of the funds in process. This is i.e. why an individual want to get it authenticated because that title can be docked. It could be forgery. It could be what they call that fake money. What they call that um when people make fake money. What they call that?
Oh, that's what is that? Fake money.
No, but it's a name for it.
Yeah.
Counterfeiting.
Yeah.
Birth certificates can be counterfeited. So with the letter of authentication, this is one of the reasons you want to not the only reason, but one of the positive reasons to have a letter of authentication on the birth certificate to show authentication or authenticity.
Authenticity. Yeah.
Authenticity to the birth certificate. No, is correct representation and is saying that the United States of America created this document and it stands true in format of his identity.
Right. That actually falls under the rules of evidence, and it also falls under
Yes.
the Uniform Commercial Code dealing with Article 9, secure
Yes.
transactions. Right. We on the same
Correct.
page. All right. Cool.
Correct.
Now, my
So
thing is this: I don't think you still answered my question,
I'm
or
I'm
I don't
finna,
think I was satisfied with
I'm
the
finna
answer
get there. I'm
of
finna
the
get there.
controlling of the funds. If it's supposed to put that other thing to rest, the 5, right? Because a 4 becomes 5. A 4 comes before a 5. So a SS4, right, is supposed to have been done first before SS5 was done. Correct.
Correct. While you was in conception of your mother's womb.
All right. So under the circumstances, if we're gonna move everything, because this is where a lot of people got in issues before, right? Is because they actually thought these people were actually changing the name crazy on the birth certificate. My bad, the certificate of title, and they were actually getting rid of these things and still out here in the public doing some shit and it was getting bagged up because they was getting bad
Correct. They're moving
information.
in fraud. Correct.
Not just moving in fraud. You pretty
Well,
much
deception.
you're trying to enforce something that you no longer want to have anything to do with. See what I'm saying? But you still got the instruments in your hand.
Correct.
It's
And
the
it's wrong representation.
exactly. That's a easier way to say it. Well, this is what I'm saying where people can get it is these people are getting in issues where they don't want to be a part of something, but still got these things a part of them. So
Yes.
they can run your name. You got something will say something, they will run right in that system. They say, oh, gotcha. Oh yeah, you moving in fraud, buddy. We got you. But you're trying to execute something or you're trying to enforce something or some right that you don't have. So my question again, because the question on the table, right, is this your turn? Does any of this help anybody, or is this just info to know? Now, what I'm saying is how to properly, you don't have to give a step by step. If we actually, based on what you said, what once you do everything proper, what is I would say not the benefit, but I would say the protection that does for anybody that's been in any situation that they're in right now that they really shouldn't be in based on all crimes are commercial. How about that?
Oh. Yes, it's beneficiary. It helps individuals. It's not just info. I'm gonna try to narrow it down to something we all can be familiarized with.
You got a minute and a half to do it. I'm gonna see how
It's
swift
going
you
yeah.
Let's go.
If we can recall ourselves watching a show called Dallas as we was coming up, or even further than that, called the Cartwrights. What was that? The Ponderosa, or I believe that was the name. You understand? These identities was giving you the sight of endowment, self-endowment, self-governing. If you closely watch these different avenues of things on these people property and individuals property, they was getting no interruptions from the United States regulations. I'll leave it at that. I'm done. I'm done.
That's what I'm talking about. Big dog, you still here? Big dog, I got a question for you, big dog. Big dog. Hopefully that helped you out, isn't it? Big dog, where you at, man? Where you at? I got a question.
Yes, sir. I'm here, good brother. I was talking to
Okay.
my
All right.
partner.
All right. But okay, so you said it can
Yeah,
help
I
you.
got cut off when I said I had
Yeah,
a
I
phone
know. That's
call.
why I
But
want
go
to.
ahead,
That's
brother.
why
I'm
I
gonna
want.
mute up and let you
That's
finish.
why I want to bring you back. That's why I want to bring you back. You got cut off there. But I want to bring you back. You said it works if you apply it. I'm paraphrasing, and you said it don't work if you don't apply it. Is that kind of like?
And I think we haven't been applying it. You know, just like we always say, power to the motherfucking people. If we ain't doing nothing, you know, ain't nobody else doing nothing for us. You see what I'm saying? So that's my thing. I think on paper and court it might work, but it need us to get behind it and put it to work, make it work. You see what I'm saying? Like 1 and 1 is 2, and doing the work to do that. We gotta do that same work in these courts, in these streets, in these law centers. You feel me? And if we ain't doing it, we ain't showing our power, and that's what I feel like we ain't been doing. We ain't been addressing this area of law or commerce. You know, and that's why we don't have no power. And like I said, we say power to the people. If we're gonna take back our power, this is one of the avenues we may have to look into if we ain't willing to shed some blood. You feel me?
Mhm.
And I'm gonna land right there. Peace to everybody on the panel. Peace to everybody in the chat. Power to the motherfucking people, man.
Everybody sub up Big Dog Philly OG, supports my channel all the time. He actually put me on his panel. We did some interviews. He actually helped me get to the place where I can go live. Big Dog Philly OG. Listen, Big Dog Philly OG, J-Dub, is in agriculture as well, farming and all that stuff. Heartfelt Center, Big Dog Philly OG is a good brother of mine. He's been in agriculture pretty much all his life, from a child. So he
That's
knows
what's
it.
up. Welcome, my brother. Like I said, I wasn't
He
sure. Much love and respect to you and the family, brother.
yeah, he knows it very well.
If you're a friend of Aton, you're a friend of mine, man.
So eventually we'll get together on that, because he has a wealth of knowledge on that agriculture stuff, big business. Now, I got another question for you, Big Dog. Now,
hey, I hope I answered your first question.
You did. No,
Okay,
you
all
did.
right. I like to check.
I got another question for you.
Go ahead, brother.
I don't know how much you was listening. Like in my presentation, am I above a 5 or I'm below a 5? How's it resonating with you, brother? How am I doing? You know, I gotta ask these brothers. I'm gonna start with you. I always ask these brothers, how did I do today? Above a 5, below a 5?
Above a 5, brother. You know what I mean? It's above a 5 for your presentation. And I'll be in the cut listening. Y'all know I'm at the pool hall right now. You know, but I'll be listening in the cut. You know what I mean? And I might don't say nothing ever in the fucking chat, but I share it live, and I make sure I may type something in the chat and shout out people in the chat. And shout out to Brother Anton and everybody on the panel. But I'll be listening low key, man. Like I said, this is my field of expertise. But you know, I'm a good listener and a good learner, man. I learn from the motherfucking people, man. But
That's right.
yeah, you know, I'll be tapping in.
All right, appreciate you.
Yeah, above 5, bro. I rate above 5.
All right. I'm gonna come back to you again. Got another question. Derek, above a 5 or below a 5, my brother? Above a 5, below a 5, because we got to talk about the status in a minute. Above a 5, below a 5. I do. You know, I get on a tangent sometime. You know what I'm saying? I really, when I go in, I'll be forgetting that y'all here. Just think about that for a second. It's kind of wild. Derek is on vacation. Naughty. I already know what you're gonna say, but I gotta ask you anyway.
Here.
Above a 5, okay, Derek, above a 5, below a 5. How do I do, brother?
What do you mean, above a 5 or below a 5?
You know, people say on a scale of 1 to 10, I just keep it right in the middle. Above a 5, below a 5. How did I do in my presentation?
Like y'all got cold beers. You above a 5. You
I
above a 5.
appreciate you, my brother. Appreciate you, big dog. That's, all y'all big dogs, but you know what I'm saying? Roz, now they already know what you gonna say, so I gotta ask you anyway. Above a 5 or below a 5?
You're reaching up when you put the white man on the channel, and the white man had to telling people what it is, and he saw like me but with a white man accent. You know what I'm saying? So I watching the chat, and I see the chat say, "Oh yeah, we gotta ask somebody who do it." And I tap into my minor account every 3 years, so I don't know what someone want to follow and don't want to follow. It's their business. You understand? If they want to be hard headed and keep running into brick wall, but Nati already been on this path way before any of this information come on the internet or Wi-Fi. So I don't know. I don't know why the message can't create some positive change or positive flow instead of just watching the messenger all the time and wanna corrupt your brain with fictitious um discrimination in your own mind. It just don't make sense. It don't make sense, bro.
In due time. In due time. We got more. I did pretty good today. I actually did a pretty good time. J-Dub, above a 5, below a 5, old man. What'd I get? Above a 5, below a 5. What'd I get? Heartfelt Center. All right. He abstains. Oh, okay. He put it in the chat. All right. Everybody else, go ahead and put that in there. I like constructive criticism. I can take constructive criticism. If I was shitty, tell me I was shitty. What can I do to be better? That's what we do every day. We try to get better. Now, let me start with OG Philly. All right. Now, under the circumstances, right, OG Philly, we had plenty of conversations. You kind of know where my angle is or how I approach this. Now, in order to fortify things, right? This is what I tell to my people when they come across me. I say, look, in any situation, never go by yourself. This is where we talk about power to the people, right? Anytime you are going to enforce something, you got to have people behind you as witnesses and make sure if anything happens, you got a fortified group with you. Now, in under the circumstances in dealing with any claims that are to be made, right? We're talking about repair and restore and all the other things that happened during the shutdowns and all this shit that was going on. Excuse my language. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to use the word class action. What I would say is group collectivity. Let me use that word too. Group collectivity in regards to be able to enforce what you have. Man stands alone usually is what? Alone. So what do you think about that?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea if we, like you said, don't make it a class action lawsuit, but basically address it in the court of law, is what you're saying. And I agree with that. Like I said earlier, if we ain't ready to shed blood and go to war over, the next other option is seeing if the corrupt judicial system will change their ways, or what's those codes that y'all use? The UFC codes?
Yeah, the United States Code, Code of Federal Regulations, Uniform Commercial Codes.
Yeah, because I'm sitting here talking to one of my young brothers, and I was trying to explain to him what we're talking about and what we talk about on this channel and other channels. But yeah,
Let me
to answer your question, yes.
let me play this for you, right? Let me play this for you because I don't know if you heard this one. Let me play this one for you. Hold on, let me get out of here. Let me hit this button and then let me come back because this guy was talking about. Because you remember we was talking about the other day when I talked about malpractice, and we was talking about based on situations where these people can actually be held under different things. So let me play this back because I don't know who heard this and who didn't, but I want to play this back for you, big dog.
Yeah, I'm here listening, my brother.
All right, let's run it.
Would this officer be impeached? It's easier to describe how to impeach them. Every cop in America. You put them on your witness list. Don't just leave them on the state's witness list, the county's witness list. You must put them on yours and take them to trial. Go down to the county recorder and get a certified copy of their oath of office. It'll be notarized and it'll have their name. Regardless if it's their correct name or not, it doesn't matter. This always works. From Westlaw, have them printed up at the local law library. Every college has a law library. Every college has free Westlaw. It's like 15 to 25 cents a page to print. Go get copies of the following two laws. For those in the back, Title 5, Section 3331, Oath of Office, and Title 18, Section 912. Then put the cop on the stand. Have him testify that that oath of office that's certified is his. He'll say, yes, sir, it is. You put it into evidence. Do not count on it just being on the record. If it's not in evidence, it's not evident to the judge. You must say, Judge, I put this into evidence as his valid oath of office. Then you go, cool, you got an oath of office. Can you read this law for the court? And hand them Title 5. Yours doesn't say that, does it? Nope. Judge, I want to put that into evidence. And I hereby demand that this officer be impeached and sanctioned in violation of Title 18, Section 912, which I want to put that into evidence for impersonating an officer of the United States.
Mic check.
Yeah, we hear you, man.
My bad. Okay, so let's just say that's talking about a police officer, right? But under the Uniform Bonding Code, they have a list of things, right? Malfeasance, malpractice, libel. You got defamation of character. You have a lot of other different things to go. Let's deal with malpractice, right? All public officials deal with malpractice. You got those codes where you pretty much log those in. Now, under the circumstances, this is where they can get got under those circumstances. Because a lot of people say, well, I signed off on a waiver or you signed this and that. But that could have been under threat, duress, and coercion, TDC. That could have been under some other means of, non-disclosure, to say it like that. Also, there was no caveats involved as well, or disclaimers. Pretty much, this is what it is. You need to sign this if this is what you want. And we're going to do that now when they operate outside of their jurisdiction, right? If they operate outside of their scope of office, I want to show this to you too, big dog. I want to show this to you, and it's for everybody as well. I mean, because we talk about a lot of big things, but I think this question is big. How can you apply it, even if you haven't got that in it? Because I haven't given my answer yet. How can you actually get this done How can you actually get this done and still get remedy if you haven't really corrected your status? You see what I'm saying? So under that sense, we're gonna go right here. We're gonna go to ultraviers, right? Because I mentioned ultraviers a couple times. I want you to see it right here, big dog. I want you to see it right here. You have my full support. Anything else? This is what we're talking about right here. TUV. TW. W. TUV.
Hey, mic check, mic check. Can you still hear me?
Yep.
All right, I'm just making sure I had a phone call again.
Okay. So so right here, right? So I was just saying, I showed that video, right? Did you look at that video? I mean, did you hear it or you got a phone call?
I heard the video.
Okay.
Basically how to impeach a police officer.
Right.
All right.
So we're talking about a police officer, right? But this is all what you consider to be public officials. Anybody that has taken an oath, that has been bonded, right? So you have right here, you have something that's called ultra, right? People think ultra is one thing, but this is ultra. It's a Latin term. It means beyond, outside of, in excess of. All right. Now we're going to go right here to ultraviers. This word right here. So let's just say, for an example, right? People say, yeah, you need to sign here, or we ain't going to do this. But, you need to sign here because you need to indemnify us if anything is wrong. But the fine print is saying, wait a minute, if you don't do it, then this is what it is. But it's just like saying, if I sign a ticket, do I have to sign a ticket? The police will say no. But if you don't, I'm taking your ass to jail. But on the back of the ticket, it says that you don't have to sign it. The other thing is that it says also that you don't have to show really any ID. And you say, well, if I don't provide my driver's license or any ID, do I have to do that? They say no. Well, but if you don't, I'm taking you to jail. They just said that you don't have to do it, but if you don't, I'm going to do this. So basically what you're saying is you're putting me under duress right now to make a decision without giving me your due diligence of information, disclaimers, disclosures, or anything else, or what anything of remedy comes back to me if something goes wrong. A doctor is the same just as a police officer. So it says right here, the modern technical designation in the law of corporations of acts beyond the scope of power. Now, I don't know what you listened to, but people heard me when I was reading off the information prior when we was talking about indictments and things like that, right? All this stuff is corporate in nature. True bill. So if you're operating in the corporation status, you are operating outside. But even in a corporate status, the CEO still has a fiduciary duty, right? It's all connected. Now, it says, as defined by its charter or act of incorporation, the term has a broad application, includes not only acts prohibited by the charter, the United States has a charter, but acts which are in excess of powers granted and not prohibited. And generally applied either when a corporation has no power whatever to do an act, no power, or when the corporation has the power but exercises it irregularly. Now, Big Dog, you are one of the big proponents, and I really commend you for this, to say that the United States is what, Big Dog?
Corrupt to the motherfucking core.
And a
corporation. Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. All righty then. All right, so let's get there. So I want to put it in context for you, Big Dog, when you say what you say. When the corporation has the power, it says right here, and generally applied either when a corporation has no power whatever to do an act, or when the corporation has the power but exercises it irregularly. Now it says right here in this case law, actus ultra vires when corporation is without authority to perform it under any circumstances or for any purpose. Now they also have by doctrine of ultra vires. So there's a doctrine, a contract made by a corporation beyond the scope of its corporate powers is unlawful. Now, here's the thing. And when I was showing the other guy that was talking about these applications, when they get you to fill out these forms, you're filling out applications, big dog. That big dog application is a letter of credit that they're utilizing. I know I'm talking fast. I know I'm saying a lot of shit, big dog. Just take it as I give it. But under these circumstances, they want to say, hey.
Yeah, I understand contract law, so you ain't saying nothing wrong.
That's right. Okay, so they say, well, you signed this waiver, but did I sign this waiver with full knowledge of the facts, right? I don't think I did. I don't really think that I would actually do this and sacrifice that if I knew that I did have rights in between that. You said I had none. You get this, and you pretty much gave me that, and the next thing you know, I'm pretty much coerced and pretty much under duress to sign it because you're telling me there's no other way. See what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying right there.
Gotcha. And I did want to comment on something that you talked about earlier when you were showing the natives or the $5 Indians, how the government controlled their reservations and also them. They basically gave them, created an entity when they allowed them to so-called be the natives or the $5 Indians to keep that Indian legacy going through white people and take it away from the niggas that was Indians or our people that was we the Indians.
Yeah,
That's what I seen that this corporation did.
Yeah, I appreciate that. You got that.
You got it.
And that's the one thing I think it confuses everybody for the simple fact that they actually want what that did, big dog, to me.
I'm gonna have to go out Aton because I know you talking and I can't hear you.
Oh, okay.
I'll be right back then. My bad. Hold your thought. I'll be right back.
All right. I got that. I got that note. I know exactly what to say. And I'll say it again. And Derek, what that did, because you talk about this as well. See, what he just mentioned, what I'm trying to get to is that remember when I said the invasion of the body snatchers, right? You know what I'm saying? You got the invasion of the body snatchers. You got the Walking Dead. You got Sleepwalkers. Remember the movies? You got They Live. You got all these movies talking about these, what you would call infiltrators. You know, providing information. And what they ended up doing is the people that they actually utilize to go against us are the ones that that created the whole program. So everything that was done to them, we talking about penal colonies, all this shit that was set up during that time, they waited a period of time, somebody within that group, in order to be able to alleviate and free these people out, and then be able to utilize the same process that we use with them in a great capacity, right? In a great coup. We wasn't beating on them. We wasn't doing none of that. They was working. They came over here, sought asylum, all these different things. Then after that, guess what? They took the program, reverse engineered it, what we call technology back in the day, right, Derek? And then they utilized it and flipped it on us. This is what I'm saying. That whole program, they flipped it on us in order to get us out of our position. It's a beautiful thing, ain't it? Derek.
Derek work.
So back to your video.
Go ahead, Donnie.
So that seems a good approach if you run across one of these clerks acting as judges. But using that process right there is most likely in a federal court. Because it's going to be dealing with USCs. The county state courts deal with the codes and statutes of the state. So when you're dealing with a police officer, they're not actually under an oath. They're not actually under a bond. They're gonna fall under the bond who was elected because they're not elected. So that would basically be used to kind of get the case thrown out because you don't want to, you know what I'm saying? It's if it was a good attorney, they can fight against that because the police officer actually is a policy holder for the state's control or the state's property. And then the offender or the one who's acting as defendant, that individual identity or status can still be identified by way of driver's license or some other power unit or anything that they've previously gotten in the state to be identified under the jurisdiction of the state. So I mean it's a fight if you don't have your status incorrect and even to bring that clause up because you can get placed right back up under being the property of under the jurisdiction. And
Right.
then the officer himself is not under an oath by
Right.
way of election.
Yeah, we're by way of election, but they are bonded. They are bonded, and in that bond, they have a policy on them of what their duties and responsibility, their job description. It does have that, and within let's say the city of Sacramento, you know what I'm saying? Those city police fall under that bond, and when they fall under that, they fall under the county board of supervisor who writes their checks. So even on the lower tier of that, and I agree with you in part, but even on the lower tier of that, within the Constitution, which is the supreme law of the land, there is protections there, and the one protection is equal protection of the law. Now, you do have a tax duty, you have a duty within that as a citizen, but there's one thing that can't be done against you, and that's trespass. So, in that trespass, that's where you have your remedy. So, that trespass that leads upon an encumbrance on something without full knowledge of what you're getting yourself into, that makes you out to be a slave. You see what I'm saying? That makes you out to be a slave. So that's where I say at the lowest part of what you're saying, which I agree in part, you do as a consumer, right? As a consumer, you have rights within that. And if you know that these crimes or these policies are commercial in nature, or put you in a consumer position, which puts you in the form of an indenture servant, then you do have some equity in that. That's what I'm saying. But what they come out to say is criminal and all this type of stuff, and they, over. But I think it's more dealing with our people than anything else. That's why I take it back to our original status. Why are they so focused on us? Why is it always like this? You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's just where I get to. It's a little bit more bigger on our end than just a corporate UCC, USC situation based on who we are. You know what I'm saying? That's why I say I agree in part and I disagree in part. Well, yeah. Damn, they'll probably come back up here. It's just me and you. It's just me and you. Pause. All right, so look. Hey, man, let me do this real quick. Oh, dude, don't go nowhere. I want to go ahead and do a quick intermission. I just want to give a quick intermission based on that is compliments of old dude. Hey, this will give us some time for them cats that fell off the screen to come back, and if they don't, then we could end it off. I think it was pretty good. And here's the other one. Okay. Well, that was, yeah. Yeah, he did his thing on that, didn't he? That was cool. I appreciate the brother doing that. Under the circumstances, we on 4 hours. I think we did pretty good. We got a lot of good information in, a lot of good back and forth. At the end of the day, we're going to get up out of here. Good start to Monday. Good start to Monday. All right. I didn't know what I was going to do today,
But I figured it'd take me somewhere. So, with that being said, yeah, some new stuff, you know. Brother came in. I guess he said, I'm tired of listening to that, what you playing. Let me give you something better. I said, all right. Yep, appreciate that. Yep, that's me. Yep. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm saying. We some sentient beings, and we way above what people even think about. You know what I'm saying? But I appreciate everybody being here. We're gonna close this thing out. And you know, I gotta end it off. My two young brothers, I King Chameleon, royalty to slavery. And what we have here is where'd it go? Nope, I don't want that. All right, hold on. Where'd it go? Hold on, let's go back to the history. There you go. Yeah, we just gonna go to these young brothers. We're gonna keep it straight. Keep it straight and go from there. Yeah, we're gonna keep it going right there. And when this is over, show's over. All right. J-Dub, I'll at you later, brother. We'll talk a little bit later on, and peace to you. All right, here we go. Appreciate everybody being here. This was a good one. Everybody came up here and did their thing. Shout out to Nadi. Shout out to Heartfelt Center / J-Dub. Shout out to Derek. Shout out to None Your Business. Shout out to Isness. Shout out to Engine Radio. I don't care if you was on the panel or not. Shout out to Big Dog Philly OG. Shout out to me. How about me? All right, y'all. Peace.
We want freedom by any means necessary. We want justice by any means necessary. We want equality by any means necessary. We don't feel that in 1964, living in a country that is supposedly based upon freedom and supposedly the leader of the free world, we don't think that we should have to sit around and wait for
all of your assets you have to protect it. Just set your trust up, come get your status corrected. Yeah, you know we moving more than mountains. Fuck your school, fuck your voting system, fuck your water fountains. Melanin, I know you heard of me. You can never murder me. I want that gold you owe me now and gold from 1933. I want y'all to stand on all of the treaties that you sold to me. Cause we was already here, y'all came on a boat to me. And know this God-given land we all holding feet. Simple, absolute gratitude, your majesty. I am not in my straw man, you not controlling me. Certified, signed, sealed, stamped by the notary. Don't try to lie to my face like you ain't just a colonist who tricked us with contracts, but you fail to acknowledge it. And history books are fertilizer, one big pile of shit. Acting like you freed us from slavery, but ain't abolished it. The plantation just got renovated. Driver's license and passports are the new slave papers. How they foreclosing on the ones they gave acres. We allowed them entry, even trusted them as neighbors. They took everything from us and made us ask for favors, and posed as the only helping hand that's there to save us. Boycott, don't try to keep up with the fad, cause the money that we save, the properties that we rehab. Tears don't fall from my eyes, cause they see our what, but they don't see our why. You was born in June, but I only seen July. Influenced by bad spirits like a DUI. You ain't do no estate planning, but you think you fly. Now we gon' need 3 fish fries to see you die. We the revolt, boy, don't play with me. The time is now, this royalty over slavery.
Damn. I leave it.
Don't move it. Don't move it. Don't move it. Yeah. Don't move it. Don't move it. Don't move it. I'm the coach, quotes coded in oak with a ghost loaded focus. Chrome in the coat, king with the cloak, smoking that hocus pocus. Infinite styles, pivot and pile up the mileage. I'm wild with the science. You see the line on my avatar, iron jaw pride. I to devour the silence. Why you niggas steady lying? Got me laughing hard, satire and fraud. I fire the squad. Wise get crossed when I'm sparring with all the guards. Author of art, carving a mark in the bark of the market at large. Target the sharks, heart of a Spartan. I sharpen the margin with bars. You rather bargain and dodge. I'd rather you come get your taxes done. Black suit back, room facts in a stack. I'm relaxing the maximum. Get out of the pocket, the profit of rocket. Then I just might tax you punks. Bracket your funds, subtracting in chunks. Reacting to ashes, you're begging to punch. Sometimes my community hard-headed, scarred, dreading the lessons. I chart head and start spreading the message. Embedded in pressure. Sovereign living, I'm private with it. No corporate percentage. Discharging debt with a pen stroke. You still don't notice the vision. I've been telling y'all you don't want to debate me. Weighty and ready. Great with machetes, linguistically shredding the petty. Grab these 15 acres. Landscape major, plan made paper. Land patent stamped and sacred since my campaign greater. I ain't talking about Ice-T when I say that I can show you law and order. Court recorder, I sort the torture, contort the border. I eat the case, beat the state, leave a trace in a raw supporter. Briefcase aura, got your baby mama thinking that I'm a lawyer. Seminole Indian sentiment, militant on sovereign soil. Private enrollment, tribal component. I'm the boss, you trying to employ it.
Clutch, baby.